Don't mind me. I am sitting back, chillaxing, actually. Hello, indeed. Hello. How's it going, Dave? Alright, I'm gonna send that. Okay. I don't know where Boo is. I started the everything and I don't know where he went. But yeah, he'll be here in a bit, probably. I don't know. But yeah. I have eaten food. I'm ready to go. We did our Hedon thing. Applied it directly to the forehead, of course. Um, now I'm ready to talk about war.
Oh God.
Hello. My goodness. So, my entire microphone arm, as I was pulling it towards me, fell out of the thing. So that was cool. Sorry about that. Big noise. Big noise. Hope you're awake. I am. And scared. There we go. I'm better. There we go. I'm hoping that we don't encounter, in fact, let me test this, that we don't encounter another technical difficulty. Okay, we do not. Awesome. That was really loud. Very cool. Hello, Timothy. How are you? That was almost, like, muted, you know? I have the watch together, and the video was like, is like, what? Like 10% of the bar? Holy shit, that's loud. War. War never changes. Indeed, Pizza Funk, hello. I'm doing alright, thanks for asking. I, uh, I got like 2 hours more sleep than I usually get, and so I'm tired. I've been tired all day, and, I got a bunch of cleaning stuff done. I moved some stuff out of the back room, out into the shed, that needed to be out there. Um, have my dishwasher going. It's good. It's good. I'm getting back to having a bit of a cleaner home. It's one of those things that if you let it slip for a little while, you fall down through a horrible kind of rabbit hole. Where did my phone go? Oh no. Oh, it's right next to me. I'm just bad and dumb. Cool. Alright. Just sleep. Haha, who needs that? I know, right? Um, well. Oh, hello! Oh, hello? I can't hear you, boo. Oh, he made it so I can't light up. Damn it. Why does he do this? I wish I could sleep more, though. It'd be nice. Anyway, hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Going okay. All right. Good to see you.
Yeah.
And, hello and welcome back to Table Talk Discussion and Discourse, everyone. I, as always, am your host, Alejo, aka Great on 95.
I am your second host because Aiden's not here. I
True.
gotta pick up his slack,
Mm.
and I'm still pursuing the final achievements in Deep Rock. It's why I haven't been able to play Monkey with Stick game.
Oh, Monkey with Stick game is apparently very good.
I know. I want to play it.
Yeah. Timothy says, hi, Boo Senpai.
Hello.
The link to the chat is in our thing if you want that open.
I do.
Well, there you go. It's there. Hello, Draco Kraken. I see ya. Well, I suppose let's get going. Let's start talking about it. Oh, the horrible topic, war. My God.
What is it good for?
Absolutely nothing.
Unless it's in Helldivers, in which case
Everything.
It's pretty great.
Yes. So I was trolling around YouTube as I do, before the show, and went, we haven't really actually done a talk about big battles. And then I was like, ooh, war is big battle. So I was looking through and I found our good old friend Guy from 5 years ago or something. I don't know. Talking about war as a setting. For your role-playing games.
Okay.
Yeah. And I figured we could talk about the implications of war and what it can do for your world and everything that it has to affect and change because of its ongoing nature. So, I mean, we all know about war. It's bad, yes. Right? It's not great.
I feel like that would actually be kind of a difficult setting to run, because once the war is over, is your setting over?
Well, so I assume it's not just having only war being in the setting itself. I mean, it's just everything has a war in it, right? And then war is going on in the background, or it's in the foreground-ish. It's just there as a part of your setting. Right.
Yeah, or is it I feel like an easier way to do it would be to have the story at least. I guess it depends on how you want to have the story be presented, but do it as a mercenary company rather than a military unit, because once the war, for example, Nation A goes to war with Nation B, and every character made is a soldier of Nation A. Well, if you either lose to or win against Nation B, unless they start doing rebellion shit, which would be fucking cool, or resistance shit, the guiding thing for the campaign's kind of done.
Well, I mean, I guess there's also the aftermath that you would have to worry about, because you as a company could be sent to help with stabilization of the nation.
That's true, and you could be dealing, even if you lose, you could become a rebel force, and if they lose, you'll have to deal with a rebel force.
Right, exactly.
That's fair.
Trying to figure out how to survive the aftermath of a war if you lose, and potentially trying to hide out as a mercenary company, right? Trying to get rid of their banner or something, and trying to blend in with the new society, or doing something where Firefly, if you know Firefly.
I don't.
Oh, well. Not too much of a spoiler, but the main character and his number 2 were in a big civil war, and they lost. Their side lost. The Browncoats lost. And so after the fact, they survived it, but they go around and they are doing their jobs as basically for hire, doing whatever they need to do to get money to survive and all this shit. And the main guy wears his brown coat all the time because he still is a proud person of that side, because they were in the right and everything, and it gets him into trouble.
That always goes well.
It gets him into trouble here and there, right? Because they're like, that coat's a little brown, isn't it? And he's like, yeah, it is. And it's a pretty and so you could have those kinds of characters who are also just still defiant of the current rule, and just live with it, right? And they just try to get by day to day and survive, right? You could build Outer Heaven. True.
Holy shit, you could.
You really could.
Yo.
Like how the demon war in my world that set up a bunch of stuff. Yeah, exactly, Timothy. Yeah, just like yours. War has implications. Who knew? I know.
Yeah. War
Um,
war changes everything.
Exactly.
But it itself doesn't change.
Exactly, right? But yeah, so there's that. I mean, during the wartime, you can show hardships of the economy or booming industry that might be happening because of it, right? Like people having to work to make weaponry, or things being shut down because they're in a war-torn.
They don't want weaponry being made,
but they're in like a more war-torn area, right? So it's like, oh, not everything is booming, and you've got if you know This War Is Mine, that game, one of my favorite games, where it's you are a person trying to survive while there's a war going on, and you are just a guy.
That's spooky.
It is. It really is. There's like looters and stuff that you have to deal with, and you have to get food and water and all this stuff, and just hope to survive every day. And if you go to somewhere, if there's like active fighting going on in the area, you could, encounter some of the military, and they could shoot you on sight or whatever.
That reminds me a lot of that game. I want to say it was called 60 Seconds.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it makes me think of that.
Yep.
Except, war.
Except,
and not comedy.
Nuclear apocalypse, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and
my only... Oh, sorry.
I was going to say that the other thing is, like, you can have places in that game where you go to the military that is there and trade with them.
Okay.
So, like, not everybody, but if you could, like, go in there and try to steal something, if you could try to get your way around and stuff, but it's incredibly hard because you're a guy. You're just a guy.
And they are military.
They are military. It's a base. What are you doing?
It's like trying to assault Area 51.
Yeah. Naruto running all the way.
Yeah, dude. Did you see the Internet Historian's video on that?
I did.
Good. Thank fucking God. Anyway, so my only other concern about running a military campaign, like specifically, is character classes and their resulting abilities and stuff.
Okay.
Because if you're a soldier, there's really only specifically a soldier. You are a combatant, because there's not really any place, if there's a war going on, there's not much place to have like an accountant on the battlefield.
Sure.
So it makes me concerned about the effective lack of like class and background and skill options, because you've effectively got like fighters or barbarians. Basically, you're going to be just heavy into combat. There's not going to be a whole lot of like history or not a whole ton of certain types of role play will really be super applicable. You know what I mean?
So I think that there are ways that you could kind of shoehorn it in a bit so that it feels more natural. Like you're fighting in a ruin, and
okay.
And like the ruin itself has traps or something that haven't been activated in years, and you could try to get like them to create this more opportune battlefield by activating those things and putting them under your control and all that kind of stuff, right?
When you say fighting in a ruin, for whatever reason, my mind flashed to Halo 1 and the emergence of the flood, and I'm like, oh, fuck, that would be awesome as a fucking scenario.
Yeah, you could have that kind of stuff happen too, absolutely, right? I can see the ways that you could have it so that it does apply, a military company could be tasked with going out and finding any sort of advantage, right? Whether that be, hey guys, we're fighting this war and we're kind of losing. Could you guys look? I know like that guy, he's real weird. So could you take him and go and see if you can contact the Fae for aid?
Look, I know. Okay, boys, clasp my hand together.
Yeah.
Look, he's weird, but he's got this plan.
Yep.
he's gonna jump us behind him. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great. Come on, boys.
I hope you noticed when I said this boy is weird.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so I can think of that. Yeah, your class can also be determined by what you did before the war. True.
That
also
is
true.
Well, yes, that's fine.
Yeah.
But it's
It's
more
the
so
skill,
the fact.
the skill variance.
Yes, it's more so the fact that if we're talking specifically like role playing on a battlefield, usually, you're kind of limited. In D&D, you could play a kind of nerdy, bookish wizard.
Yep.
And be fine with that because, you can make history checks, you can make charisma checks and stuff like that to, like, interact with people. But if you're on a battlefield, you kind of want to be a battle mage.
Yep.
And the skills of a battle mage don't really lend themselves to much interpersonal roleplay.
Potentially.
Or doing, like, more academic stuff. Again, potentially.
Right. I think
that's why I think I prefer, if we were to do a war type setting, I would prefer it be a mercenary company rather than a nation's military unit.
Yeah.
Because they are a lot more flexible in what they can do.
Yeah.
And what they can be. And also, they, having played MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries and gotten a lot of exposure to actual mercenary work, the jobs that you can be sent on can be a lot less official, and they can be a lot more like black bag stuff.
Oh yeah,
which can be a lot more interesting.
I think
because we're also talking about like fantasy war here, so
potentially. Well, this is just in general. I'm thinking at the moment, but but yes,
yeah, that's fair.
In a fantasy kind of thing, potentially it would be better. Like I think a lot of different systems, have different requirements there for whatever. Because, like, if we were to do one of the 40k systems, anything can happen. It's fucking 40k. It's fine. You're part of the military anytime, anyway.
There's feudal worlds where people are still knights.
Exactly.
There's agri worlds where everybody's a farmer.
Yeah.
There's hive worlds where it's all gangers.
Yeah, exactly.
Which would be awesome.
And traveling, like Rogue Trader, you travel between all of the things and have to deal with that, and you're still technically a part of a war all the time. It's just, far off in the distance-ish. / it could be right there. Who knows? Like, it really is whatever. So something like that, it's ingrained into that kind of setting, whereas something like D&D, it's a backdrop a lot of the time, and when you participate, you dip your toe in here and there. But if you do have something that is, like, you are a big force to be reckoned with, you're still usually the mercenary company, like you're saying, of like, oh yeah, they hired us so that they don't have to take away troops off the front lines to do this dangerous shit. If this happens, hey, we lost you. You might be good, but
we have an army to think about here.
Yeah, exactly. We need to make sure the men are okay,
Yes.
But yeah, no.
That's why we hired you women.
Oh God. But no. So yeah, I think for something like that, it makes more sense in that kind of way. But obviously, for anybody's table, it really depends on what you guys want, right? Because you could want to be just on the front lines all the time, and then just go for those types of missions here and there. And at that point, I'd be like, all right, go for only war, like that RPG. You're usually a militarum. Or Sister of Battle, or sometimes you can. I mean, I think there's a bunch of different things you could be, but like, regardless, it's built so that you can do that.
Whenever we talk about war in a TTRPG, I always will circle back around to my idea of a 40k inspired, like, mission-based campaign, where you're playing as a faction. We'll just say like the Guard to start with.
Sure.
Or the Imperium, basically, where you start the campaign. First mission. Excuse me. First mission. You're playing as an Officio Assassinorum.
Yeah.
And you're going in there, and like maybe you're a what's the sniper one? A Vindicare.
Yep.
That's it. You're playing as a Vindicare, and you're like sneaking up, and you're getting ready to snipe a fucking like a general or something in the orcs, or like a war boss, actually. sniping a war boss, and after you snipe him, that mission is over. Then next mission, it's the next day, and you're playing as a fucking squad or a team of Lehman Russes,
Sure.
and you're breaking through the lines, now weakened by the war bosses passing. After that, you're playing as like guard who are going through and like trying to go through trenches and clean out the rest of the greenskins, or like any purple boys. Never seen them before.
Never seen them.
You never will.
No.
And then after that, maybe you're playing as like an Legia Aeronautica. That's it.
Yeah.
Legion Impera, whatever. Fucking low gothic.
No, that's high.
That's high.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Low is your.
Low is English.
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
Well, speaking of low gothic, you're playing as like the Air Force, and you're like bombing out the rest of shit. So you're playing this war, but you're going through each and every different aspect of the war.
Yeah.
And you could do that with so many different factions, where if you wanted to play Tyranids, you could be Lictors, going through Lictors and Gene Stealers. You're sneaking through to kill a fucking Imperium sergeant or general. And then next mission, you're a squad of Carnifexes charging through, ripping shit up.
Yeah.
That would be so cool.
Yeah.
So whenever we talk about war, I have to pitch that every time.
Sure.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, it's another way. It's absolutely another way to do it, for sure.
It's the way to do it. Fuck you.
it's the stringing together a bunch of different campaigns however they adventures. That's it.
Adventures, operations, missions.
To make a grand campaign. That kind of style.
An actual campaign.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Exactly. Hey Shin. Hey Entropy. I see you. Laptop's taking a while to get started. I'm sorry to hear that. Hey Verity. Excuse me. I don't know, you could go for a Saga of Tanya the Evil special unit thing. I don't know what that refers to.
That's true.
What is that?
So the Saga of Tanya the Evil is an anime. It's an isekai that takes place in basically alternate universe World War I. It's actually really good.
Okay.
It's not one of the ones where the isekai portion is like... This was actually before it was overdone to death. And basically, it is a salaryman. This happens episode 1. It's not a spoiler. Salaryman gets reincarnated into the body of like a small girl, basically to try to teach him humility. And he uses his adult brain to basically become a military genius for the time. He's a military genius.
Okay.
And she gets promoted to like way up in the military and is given command of a particular like squad that's like all like flying people because they have like magic jetpacks, basically. And they kind of like a spec ops unit who is like weird tactics for the time.
Gotcha.
Because again, World War I.
Yeah, that's not usually the thing. Exactly.
Okay. So she becomes the leader of a spec ops unit who does like crazy shit, and it's really cool.
Okay.
So actually, that would fit basically perfectly with the insanity that players come up with on a daily fucking basis.
Oh, for sure.
I would know. I've burned down a stuck door.
Yes, you have.
Wasn't my idea, but I did that shit.
I literally just watched a video about a war-based board game called The Campaign of North Africa. I have heard of this, where it took 2 years to get through 13% of the game, and nobody ever played a full game. Yep. It is one of those...
What the fuck?
It is one of those incredibly complicated board games that nobody wants to play.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's fun.
So what, you have to go through like literally an entire military campaign
I think
on a
so.
board game?
Yeah. I think it is.
That's insane.
I think it is, yeah. Something like that. I remember, I'm waiting for... I know it might be a meme at this point, but I think it's still coming. But I don't know if anybody out there knows Veilfisk, channel on YouTube. He does a lot of just comedy stuff. And makes shitty maps and stuff for some games, and you know, he just comes up with this shit. And And he made shitty board games as well as a shitty video game that is basically just, it was a meme to fool his friends and spook them a little bit.
Nice.
It was great. And
Nice.
he's been teasing a Campaign of North Africa video for a long time now. And I hope every day that it actually does come out, because I want to see him play that game, because I know him and his friends would fucking hate it. Because it takes forever.
Damn it. When you said that, like when you were first talking about it, I thought it was a video game, and I was like, dude, that sounds like something Seth would do.
Oh, yeah. Hyped, right.
But no.
I think Seth made a joke about it at one point in one of his videos. I think
he probably did.
Yeah, because it is one of those games.
Either that or just one of his many offensive jokes.
Oh, probably, yes.
He did another video recently. It's great.
Yeah. Okay, so
Path of Accra. Anyway, go
on. So why don't we take a look at the video?
I will warn you though. This is one of the ones with the loud ass intro.
Oh, I've got it all the way down. Yeah, I was going to warn you actually beforehand.
Yes, I have like the video started playing before I could pause it, and then I just, I heard.
Okay. All right.
But my audio doesn't blast my own ears out. You're good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've turned it down very far, so then hopefully it doesn't destroy everybody else's. So here we go, everybody. This is Great GM, War as a setting for your role-playing game, great master tips for RPG, #GM tips from How to Be a Great GM. Here we go.
Oh, I did not see you there, comrade. Welcome.
5 years ago.
How to be a great game master.
A more innocent time.
I'm Nikolai Teslikovsky.
More innocent or more deranged, because this was also the time of you pick up a cup and it tastes like semen. So,
well, no, I'm talking about the Russia.
Oh,
yeah.
I see. Yeah.
Woschkenstein. Ski. I am here to conduct your interrogation on how to be a great game master. I will judge whether you are worthy or not, because this is how to conduct war. Hello and welcome to another episode of How to Be a Great Game Master. Today we're looking at the setting of war. Now, war is never a pleasant business in real life, but in role-playing, it allows us to explore some pretty amazing options. And my notes have fallen on the floor.
And
we keeping this in? We keeping this in, really? Okay, because it's funny.
Keeping it in.
It's funny.
Or is it?
We watching Command and Conquer tonight.
Yeah.
Basically.
Oh, yeah, that would have been great. The Helsing War speech? Fuck yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, come on. Back. Carry on. Right. So, war. War is bad. Yeah, all right, we've covered that. So, when we look at a war setting, I'm not talking necessarily a setting that involves some kind of science fiction-y element or some kind of mystical element. That really falls into the realm of things like Cthulhu and Indiana Jones. I'm talking proper war. Now, whether that's World War I, World War II, the Boer War, the American War of Independence, the Vietnamese War, the Vietnam War, or a war in space. If you are doing a proper war setting, then this is the video for you. So, when we look at the setting of war, what do we expect? Our expectations are quite simply that, well, there's going to be lots and lots and lots of killing. War is very seldom without that. And so we expect there to be killing. We expect there to be lots of missions. We expect there to be a ranking structure where we have a commander who tells us what to do, and then the squad goes off and executes it. We also expect invasions. We expect to be part of an invasion force, or we expect to be part of a defending force. Either way, we are expecting some mass combat. And we're going to cover mass combat in a little bit. We expect spies and covert operations where little groups have to infiltrate the enemy base to find that code to help crack the messages and defeat the enemy before they invade.
That's another aspect that I didn't even think about, of just having it so that you, as your team, whatever RPG you're using, you're the spies in the setting, and being used to go and infiltrate and potentially like do some sort of James Bond-esque giant conspiracy plot, or something as simple as a simple mission to retrieve codes or something. It's another very fun way that you could, in fact, utilize, like you were saying, many of the skills that you might be thinking of for any particular setting, really.
Yeah, those kinds of spy missions where you can actually speak and not just exit and not just kill people.
Right, exactly. Guy, beat this CPU at risk 10 times, and you will be a great GM, comrade. True. Have you ever had a party that would make it as spies?
So now, dice rolling, probably no. I think this group would actually make it just fine as spies.
Yeah, I think, honestly, if we were to continue the, calling back to this, the Dandelions campaign that we had started, we could have become something like that, you know? Because a traveling troupe of bardic characters are pretty good to be a spy.
Yeah,
group.
I mean, hell, you even have a legitimate reason to be in a war-torn area.
Yeah.
You're a neutral third party, and you're trying to lift the spirits of, displaced civilians.
Yeah, exactly. Getting information and potentially doing some sabotage here and there, depending on if you are a part of a side or not, or if you're just a part of the people, trying to make it so that you are more so against the concept of war being fought around the people, really, rather than for either side.
Yeah, so I have only run one other group, and it was my brother and a pair of his friends when that was about 10, maybe even 11 years ago at this point. They would not. But they were very inexperienced. They had only played before once, so that's not really a fair assessment. But I think this group could just fine.
Yeah, I think, honestly, any of the characters that we've played, we could have made them into a spy of some sort, in the sense of, like,
I mean,
even for Devils and Dice, all of the characters together could have worked as spies had that been the goal, right?
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to the player's ability to roleplay sensibly. That's what it is, really, because you come into two different kind of camps when there are spies. You have you ever, are you a Hitchcock fan?
Oh, I've not watched a lot of Hitchcock movies, but they are pretty good from what I've seen.
Did you ever see Iron Curtain?
I did not. No.
Okay, Iron Curtain is fantastic, and you should watch it.
Okay. I'll add it to the list.
Iron Curtain is a movie about an American scientist who is... would you like to see it for yourself, or no?
It's fine if you talk about it. It's been a long time for it, so...
Okay. Iron Curtain is a movie about an American scientist during the Cold War who is outwardly defecting to the Soviet Union.
Ooh.
And he is a nuclear dude. He is purported to be a nuclear dude.
Exactly.
And so what happens is he defects. Everybody in America is like, what the fuck? Why are you defecting? You're a dickhead. But they go anyway because it's America, and they let him go.
Yep.
And he goes to the Soviet Union and meets with a very, very high level nuclear physicist. And they start conversing and talking, and he has basic college level nuclear physicist stuff. And what he does is they meet in a university, and he starts like, it's like, oh, this is some of the most advanced American nuclear shit that's going on. And he puts out like a super basic formula. And he's like, what have you got? You know, we're kind of like challenging each other. And the Russian is like, what are you doing? You're making fun of me here. Let me show you. And he writes out a super important formula.
Of course, yeah.
And then the American is just like staring at it wide-eyed, memorizing it, then the Soviets like, oh shit, I just revealed state secrets to a guy who's obviously not going, you know.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Then the rest of the movie is him trying to escape.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you could do that kind of an espionage thing where you are playing someone who is not at all an assassin.
No, absolutely.
And yet you are still absolutely a spy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yes. So the ability to be a spy, I think, comes from that level of intelligent roleplay, because you have to be able to outsmart your opponent.
Yeah.
And it really comes down to this game of cat and mouse between the DMs, NPCs, and you.
Yes.
Where you get to, if you're, I don't mean to put it this way, but it's just the only way to put it. If you're smart enough to do that, you can play a spy.
Sure.
But you just have to be smart. You got to think on your feet.
Yeah. And I think,
and yes, Verity, Cyberpunk absolutely gets close to spy stuff because you have corporate espionage.
Yes. Yep. There's that.
Vampire the Masquerade.
Yep.
I like how Entropy and Nature both did a different thing.
Yeah.
Vampire.
Yep.
We got to maintain a cover.
Yep. It's true. I was going to say Delta Green as well. Yes. Absolutely. It just depends on how you play it, right? I think anybody that I've played with could do the spy shit. Absolutely. It's just
hilariously, hilariously, Pizza Funk, I do think that Kolungo would have made a good spy.
He would have, yes.
Because he is so unassuming.
Yes. Had he survived.
He's one of those, like, dumb luck spies, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And yes, not a fan of James Bond, can we do Archer instead? Absolutely, you could. Yeah.
Could we do both?
Exactly. Yeah, no, like, that's the thing. We have so many different avenues that we can do for spy work in this way. Like, yeah, there's a war going on, and you're fighting in the war in your own way, right? But it could be however it needs to be.
It really just, it's a circumstance, I would say, rather than a position, so to speak.
Yeah. It's the position is always like, people are like, oh, you're a spy. And it's like, no, I'm just a guy. And they told me to go here and learn shit and get back to them. Like, yeah, I'm a spy, I guess.
Yeah. Right. If you want to call it that, sure.
I'm not part of MI6 or the CIA or whatever. No, I'm just like,
I'm not part of an intelligence agency.
Yeah.
If that's what you mean.
I might be recruited by one potentially, but I just went over there.
I'm just a dude.
Yeah. I just know how to talk to
spies
people.
Were supposed to wear suits and sleep with women. Yeah, I thought so too. That's what they told me.
Anyway.
We expect big weapons. Weapons of mass destruction, toxic gas-like weapons, horrific weapons. We expect squads of people. War is not necessarily about the masses. It is about the individuals and the groups within the masses. That is what the real story is about. Like I said, we expect death. So the war setting really creates a very dark space for us to explore. But what it does allow is for some very interesting role-playing. How does it allow for interesting role-playing if everyone's going to die? Well, this isn't Game of Thrones. Our favourite heroes shouldn't necessarily have their heads cut off. It should simply be a case of our favourite NPCs dying at the most inconvenient and tragic moments. And this gives us our greatest opportunity to roleplay.
So yes, but also doesn't mean that the characters can't, you know?
Yeah.
Like
that. I think that's one of my most favorite things about Call of Cthulhu, where death can be very sudden in that game.
Yep.
And I think that when, let me see, how do I want to put this? So when you're role playing a character, you I think you're still always kind of holding stuff back. I think no matter what, you're probably going to be holding some stuff back. Just because that's a natural thing for humans to do, because we don't like to feel vulnerable and shit like that. But I think as the campaign goes along in Call of Cthulhu and you're dying slowly of insanity, or dying quickly at the hands of a monster, you start to really roleplay that character very honestly, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in those situations, what that character is all about really comes out. Is that character deep down, are they someone who is honorable? Are they someone who would run away and leave their friends behind in order to save their own skin? Mm-hmm. And I mean, completely fair. Completely fair. Because, dying is scary.
Mm-hmm.
We could ask Aiden. He did once.
That's true.
Granted, he wasn't awake for it, but, So I think that threat of death and the exposure to death and the near-death experiences and the thought of dying, that natural fear of death really brings out a lot of people's best role play.
I see. Yes.
Personally.
Okay. I think that's not necessarily just for something like Call of Cthulhu. I think.
Oh no! It's just the example I bring up.
I want to say for something to reach that level is like the early stages of like a D&D or something, right? As well, because when we talked to Peter about this, he was even saying, you have that constant threat of 1 or 2 hits and you might die. For the first few levels, like it's any kind of system where at least at a time or for the whole time, you have that constant threat of it for sure. And I think you're absolutely correct in that respect, where you will see those moments coming out. Hell, when we did the Age of Magic Fur a little bit, Brogan's wizard fucking bailed.
Yep.
Because he didn't want to die. And
Indeed.
I was like, yeah, okay.
Fair.
All of us were like, damn, I hate your character.
Yeah.
But that makes sense. Yes.
Yes. I think we kind of gave him a hard time for that for a little bit.
We did, a little bit.
Yeah.
And
I think that, actually, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
What is your current thought? I'll hold it in my head.
Oh, no, go on. I'm just...
Oh, okay. I think that wasn't that the first time that had ever happened to us as this group? I think it was.
Yes.
And I don't think it's happened since.
There have been threats of it here and there from Brogan's characters. What
a bitch.
It always seems to happen. It always seems to happen here and there from his characters.
Yeah, it's weird.
And I'm like,
anyway.
Sure, okay.
Yeah.
Like, it's the choice that he wants to make a lot of the time, and I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Fine.
Yeah.
I have no problem with it. If that is what you want to happen, that is what will happen. I'm perfectly fine with that.
And he'll have a perfect excuse when we play Call of Cthulhu.
True. Well, hell, even with the current vampire campaign, I'd be like, yeah, if he ever went like, yeah, I think Nicholas is just gonna leave, I'd be like, yeah, okay, yeah,
fair.
Just make a new vampire, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that I think is a very it's a thing that I understand why people get upset about it, but I myself am like, nah, it makes it can create such a more tense atmosphere for like everybody involved, as well as just having it so that it makes sense for the character, and having it so that it's like, as long as it's not
like malicious.
Yeah, exactly. As long as it's not malicious, then it's totally fine with me, right?
Yeah, it's like it is done fully within character and is not meant to be malicious. Like, guys, I'm sorry, I can't, the character, I don't want to run away, but my character, I cannot find a reason why he would stay.
Exactly.
It's that.
It's the best version of it's what my character would do.
Yeah.
Because
we know the desire's not there. We're all here to play a game and, not die.
Yes. So I never find it to be something that's at least bad for us in what we've been doing. So I understand why other people might be more upset about it. It could be an opportunity, it could cause a death for everybody, and like again, I don't know. It's that whole like, if the person is just intending it for it to be a character choice, no problem, I think. And yeah, you can be a little mad about it here and there, but like as long as you're not, a dick about it, I think you'll be all right.
And it doesn't like linger or anything. You don't hold a grudge over it.
Exactly. There's no reason for that, and I don't think that it would usually, but yeah.
Yeah. Certainly not in this group.
No, at least not for us.
But I honestly kind of forgot that happened. My most memorable things from that campaign were me becoming a werewolf.
Yeah. I
wanted to be a were-rat so bad.
Yeah, right. And I remember, that's where the door came from. The burning of the door, and
yeah, the burning door and the double crit for Kalungo.
The double crit for Kalungo.
Fate decree.
Yep, that's right. There's a lot that I remember. The fucking lore dump that I gave for Machiavelli.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I have a memory from that one. I remember when we finally learned what goblins were.
Yes.
So that way you didn't have to describe them as the every time. It's like, yay!
That's right. Because you were people who knew nothing about the outside world. It was fantastic.
We knew what goblins were. They didn't.
Yep. It was. It was a whole thing. It was great.
Yeah, it was great. Maybe one day we ought to do like a fucking just a full video on that.
Maybe
just that campaign.
Yeah,
because we reference it a lot.
Yeah,
but maybe we could do kind of like a very, very, very after the fact kind of like campaign diary about it.
Yeah, honestly, I don't. We should really do one for Devils and Dice as well, just in general.
We should.
Yeah, we should do that soon. Actually, I feel like that's a good idea. But yeah,
and I keep offering to do Q&A, like AMAs about it, but nobody wants to.
Well, yeah, I'll put like an actual official thing, and we can have it be like a whole thing. That's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway,
nobody gives a shit.
But yeah, so
anyway,
I forget what brought this up.
Yeah,
we were talking about something.
Let's see. Back it up.
Let me back it up. Just
NPCs.
Death.
Yes,
that's
death.
right. Death.
So I got taught death and roleplay, and then that led into him people running.
Yes.
So you were talking about how
Brogan's wizard ran away and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Before then, you were talking about how you agree that death and the threat of death brings out good roleplay.
Yes,
a lot of the time.
I think because you are truly, like you were saying, acting in the moment, right? And making it sure that every moment really counts a lot of the time. And it really helps with making it so that you feel like it matters when you are making these decisions, because the next day could be your last, or the next few hours, maybe even. Like it really depends, and it makes it so that you're less likely to have a lot of combat if it's not something like this where you are literally just smack dab in the war. But just in general, if it's the setting that's deadly, then you'll have a lot more opportunity for less confrontational roleplay. Well, not confrontational, I guess, because you could still be confrontational in your roleplay.
Yeah,
but physically confrontational.
Yes, like combat-related roleplay.
Exactly. All right.
At the most inconvenient and tragic moments, and this gives us our greatest opportunity to roleplay. When we look at the tone of a setting, the tone is fairly important in a war setting because our tone is generally going to be quite dark. I can't think of necessarily a campaign that's set us not entirely around a humorous type of outcome. Even literature and films that deal with the funny aspects of the war are always counterpointed with death and with violence and with the tragedy of the war. However, having said that, our greatest weapon in terms of establishing the horrific nature is to have these moments of comedy where the tank commander has dropped his belt and his pants have come down whilst he's opening up the hatch of the tank to go and see whether the enemy tank is destroyed. And so everyone's laughing, and as he gets up with his underwear showing and the gunner is busy commenting on the fact that it must be cold out there, suddenly his head gets blown off by a sniper. It's that type of moment that will really set your war campaign apart from any others.
Okay, so if you find that funny, you find that funny. All right.
Yeah, I would say that that's not very funny, but I would say that that's a very good idea.
It's a good juxtaposition.
Yes, it's that.
Right, but
yeah, I don't think I would have done it that way.
No, I usually find it to be, there are so many, weird scenario, but I get the idea, exactly. So, like, there's the term gallows humor. Everybody knows it. And I could see this happening in the same kind of way of they're sitting around to take a break during the war, because it's, we're at a point where there's a lull and they're able to like take a seat around a campfire, maybe, some of them are keeping watch and all that, and they're just in a safe spot, quote unquote, right?
Yeah.
And they're making jokes about, themselves or the war, and then one of them gets their head blown off by a sniper. Yeah. And it's like that kind of setting, you have the juxtaposition there of they were laughing together, having a good time, and then, oh my god! And then everybody scrambles around, and they're getting, taking cover and getting their guns out, and, and then you start a whole combat, basically, right?
Maybe another one of them gets hit before they can fully, recover from that, and now you have a dead guy and a wounded guy, basically do the Saving Private Ryan, shoot the guy in the leg and do that.
Exactly. That kind of stuff is very cinematic for it, and for those kinds of moments, you make it so that it's the NPCs that do have that stuff happen to them, because the PCs are the ones who...
You do not want to just be like, oh, your character's dead. Sniper.
Right, exactly.
Sorry.
For that kind of thing, you're setting it up for a more... cinematic tone for a little bit there.
Yes.
And to lead them into the next scene, right?
Because if they die in that combat, fine. It was a combat.
They had the choices and such. Exactly.
Even if you're making dice rolls, no, don't do that.
Yeah. Exactly.
Another really, really good example, and I know I'm the fucking weeb, I gotta bring up something anime related. The video game Valkyria Chronicles.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to set, that is another one that basically takes place, ironically, another anime that takes place in alternate universe World War I.
Yep. It's pretty good.
But
it's pretty good.
It's fucking great. I love Valkyria Chronicles so much. If you don't want to play it, which is fair, watch it. That series is fantastic for having those kind of like comedic lull moments broken by war and very tragic moments. There's one in particular. If you've played the first game, you already know. I won't spoil it for anybody who hasn't, but definitely look into that to just kind of get a feel for how you can have those moments come about very, very naturally. Because it's a lot of disparate people, being put into a single squad, and they just kind of have to live with each other until they all become friends and, squad mates.
Yes.
And it's very good. And I'll tell you right now, if you play it, it's fucking hard and it's long.
Yeah, I started playing it for a bit, and I went, this is a time. I'm having a good time, but I don't know if I want to commit a lot of time to this.
Yeah, the thing is, for me, I have Valkyria Chronicles 4.
Yeah.
I still haven't beaten it. I want to say like 5 or 6 levels in, and I just stopped because I'm like, fuck, man, these levels are like 5 hours a piece.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like 20 fucking levels.
Yeah.
And I'm like, god damn, this is good, but fuck, I'm so exhausted after every mission.
Don't know about humans, but it's a great time for orcs. That is true. If you do it from that perspective, everything's fun and funny.
Yeah, there is no war. It's just fun.
It's just fun. Exactly.
In the 41st millennium, there is no war for orcs.
There is only fun.
Yes. That would actually be a really funny, like, April Fool's Day.
It would
thing
be,
for them to do.
actually. Yeah, they should do that. What the fuck?
Yeah. Anyway.
But, let's see. The scenario being described right now is giving me flashbacks to a game Boo would know about, Poker Face.
Yep.
I assume...
Valkyria Chronicles.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I played that on my channel, like, years ago. Yeah, it's really good.
The classic kid that was talking about his family is found on the field dead in the next battle. Yep. That's always one.
Oh, yeah, that's classic.
Yep.
Honestly, for me, I don't even know if I would do that because it's such a trope at this point, but that it's not even a thing anymore.
Sure.
You know? Like, oh man, I can't wait to go home to my wife.
Yeah,
and kids.
yeah, that's it. Does
it's
yeah?
that.
Everybody goes, "Oh, you're dead. Oh,
Yeah,
you're
fucking
so
dead.
dead. Oh my god,
Yeah,
look at how
no.
dead you are." And then,
And the thing
the
is-
thing you do is you go, "But actually, wait, no, he's still alive. He's made it out."
And then even then, you know,
Yeah.
it's too obvious.
I know.
What you want to do, this is what you want to do. You want to give the squad, and this is in Valkyria Chronicles, give them a dog.
Okay.
Give them a dog. I'm serious. If you have them be in like a military unit and they're out doing missions, give them a dog. They will die for that dog.
Oh yeah, just any pet in general, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, make them helpful, make them endearing. They are the source of morale in the fucking unit.
That's true.
And they will fucking jump the table and strangle you if you hurt that dog.
That's
It's
true.
great.
That is true.
That's why I never touched Mocha. Although, honestly, I probably could have killed Mocha, but... eh.
Wasn't Monty Python the most famous person to make war funny, says a non-Monty Python fan? I don't know. I mean, maybe? They made some jokes here and there.
No, the most deadly joke.
The most deadly joke. Oh!
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. They did a lot of funny jokes, to be fair. So
They did. The enchant.
I don't know if they were the most famous person to make it "quote unquote" funny, but
No, probably not.
I don't
what
know.
was it? Was it the? I forget the name of the sketch. It was the blank Mr. Hitler,
oh,
and it was like this. Like,
hold on.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think I know what you mean.
Where he was like, it was Pride and Prejudice, but it was Hitler.
Yeah,
And, like,
yeah.
the European powers before. World War
Yeah.
II. It was great.
Python.
Something Mr. Hitler. Just probably type in Monty Python Mr. Hitler.
It's just Monty Python, Mr. Hitler.
Really?
Yeah, that's what this says.
Oh my god.
Da.
Character fails to throw the grenade. Jim, did you have the dog with you? Yike. I sure fucking hope not. 'Cause that dog's dead. Don't worry. Every squad gets assigned a dog. But now this one's an asshole.
I don't know about a dog, but Twilight Princess gave me Midna. True.
Yeah,
But anyway, yeah.
Offsetting the dark with the funny. The moment where our heroes have been on the run from the evil Nazis and have lost some of those NPCs that have been with them
what if
through
the Nazis
15
aren't that
different
evil?
missions.
Come on.
God.
The darkest moment when they realize they've run out of weapons. And then suddenly they come across a little farmhouse that has everything that they could need, including some loving old lady who tends them back to health. Of course, as they're leaving, that very farmhouse needs to remain standing, because otherwise we'd be predictable, wouldn't we? Or, of course, alternatively, the little old lady turns out to be a Nazi sympathizer, but she's blind, so she can't tell that the group is actually a bunch of Brits on the run. Either way.
But you can probably tell by their accents.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so
and
she can't-
and the smell of beans on
Can't
toast.
fucking hear them. It's fine, I guess. But okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Ah! Fuck me. Clicking the one spot to restart the video. My God.
And then you get fucking ear
I'm
raped.
sorry, everybody. All right.
See whether the enemy tank is destroyed. And so everyone's
Okay, yeah.
laughing at your war campaign apart, just be cold out there,
Right.
house that has everything that they could need, including
Yeah,
some
yeah,
loving
okay, here
old
we go.
lady who tends them back to health. Of course,
She
as
invites
they're
them to
leaving,
sleep in her
that
house
very
repeatedly to
farmhouse
heal their
needs to
Pokemon.
remain.
Just over and
I'm
over
sorry.
again. It's fucking weird.
Ma'am, we just woke up, but you look so tired.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I'm still groggy.
Yeah, I just
No,
woke
go
up.
to sleep. Bop.
There you go. That's the way.
Dude, could you imagine World War II if it was Pokemon?
Oh god.
Where everybody's going out and fighting with Remoraid's? Or it's Lieutenant Surge? Yo!
Oh yeah. He fought in the war, you know.
He did. Anyway.
Standing, because otherwise we'd be predictable, wouldn't we? Or, of course, alternatively, the little old lady turns out to be a Nazi sympathizer, but
Ma'am,
she's
I
blind,
always
so
look
she
tired.
can't tell
Yeah.
that the group is actually a bunch of Brits on the run. Either way, the point is, it's by offsetting our stories in war that we will get the greatest effect in terms of our stories. Because ultimately, in a war setting, you don't have a huge variety of enemies or situations to really play with. It's usually just kill the enemy. So our moments need to come from setting up stories that create such juxtaposition as evil, death, and light moments of human compassion.
This is very true. I recently finished all of the Dresden files that are available at the moment, because he's still writing, which is great. Because, oh my god, there's so much more that I need.
Man, Dresden sure has a lot of files.
He does! He's got 19 of them!
Man!
Well, some of them are compilation short story books, but still, it's a lot of files! Anyway, great books. I could not recommend more, in fact. I would.
Excellent file keeping.
Indeed. But, like, most recently has been another war. And there are so many moments of this. Just there's the enemy, there's the people that lead the enemy, and then there are the people against them, right? And then you have all these situations where you see just a bunch of like evil, and some of them they are able to stop, and some of them they are not, or they do the best they fucking can. But it's all very compelling because of it, for sure. And so if you can put those kinds of moments in there, you'll make it so that everybody remembers, fuck, man, 2 sessions ago, we lost almost everybody in that one fucking, like, volley of fire. It was crazy.
God damn you, John Nazi!
That's right. And then we beat back his multiple advancing squads by being able to blow up some bridges with them on them, and able to save like an orphanage. Fuck yeah, you know?
The enemy is building a bridge! You must stop the enemy from building that bridge!
Yeah, exactly.
Call of Duty, for anybody that doesn't know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Those memories.
You're good. But yeah, so, yeah, it definitely can give the moments of that kind of thing happening. And obviously, it was flavor it however you need to for whatever setting you're in, sci-fi, fantasy, realistic, whatever you're doing, because you can absolutely get each of those moments for sure.
So now, there it is. Oh, it wasn't Monty Python, it was the Britishes. Oh, no wonder.
That I don't remember.
No, that was way more recent. It was only like 10 years ago.
Gotcha.
It is The Charming Mr. Hitler. And it's basically the same thing.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, to this humanity in humanity, I think, let's see. So, it's a good thing to do. Don't worry. I'm not going to say that it's not. I think you need to be somewhat careful with it, because you don't want to be like beating your players with over the head with it. You want it to be at least somewhat nuanced.
Oh, yeah.
At least somewhat,
sure.
you don't, I mean, I guess you could, because they are like literally the cartoon villains of humanity. You don't really want to have just a random Nazi just like kick a dog for no reason.
Sure.
But I mean, you still could, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You still want it to make sense. You
Yeah,
still
yeah,
want
yeah.
it to try to elicit something more than just okay, I guess we're just doing this.
Yeah, no. It's so one of the examples, I guess, is just that you could do is an unfortunate circumstance rather than it being an intentional target, right? So you have refugees inside of a building that is in the way of the incoming armies, and if they were to be encountered there, then
They'd probably be killed or shipped off.
Exactly. So in that way, it's not that they're directly going after them, but they are still going to be a circumstance of the war. So have the squad go to get them out, get them, out of the lines of fire, and then still also stop the advance, right?
Yeah, or if you can't stop the advance, try to draw them in a different direction.
Exactly. Just ways to put it out there so that it's not blatantly always, they want to kill the children, stuff like that.
Because, that starts to... it loses its punch.
Exactly. That's not realistic, because that's not usually what people are trying to do in a war.
Now,
usually...
Let me tell you this, though. I've got a fucked up thing for you.
Okay.
So... This is real world shit.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually look this up on YouTube and shit, and there's real historical documentation for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I forget the name of the protocol. It was one enacted by Hitler and the Nazis. I want to say toward the beginning of the war, World War II specifically. Where good old Nazi racial purity and the perfect Aryans. They literally went around looking through through very intense propaganda and stuff. The Nazis started to foster I don't really know a good term for it. Basically, kind of like, I guess, just kind of open disgust with anybody who was born, like, disabled.
It was part of their eugenics and everything.
So what would happen is, if you were a parent who gave birth to either someone who was physically disabled or mentally disabled, they would find out through, like, medical records and stuff, or you would just come out and be like, hey, my son is this. And they would send their own children off to be killed. So you could actually have that be a minor plot thread in a scenario where you have, like, SS officers going around rounding up disabled kids and executing them.
You absolutely could.
You could do that. It's fucking dark, but you could do it, and it would be perfectly historically accurate.
Sure. There's many things that you could do. But whether or not you want it in your game, that is up to you.
Exactly.
Right?
Oh, so it's less so whether or not you would want to do it. It's more so the fact that you could actually have them be the kind of Nazis that go around killing kids.
Oh, yeah. There are examples for it, but like you were saying before, you don't want to do it that much, because...
Yeah, you really don't!
It's not really... I don't feel like anybody's gonna have a fun time with that.
No. Unless he's, like, the ultimate villain, and that is, like, alluded to. And so it's like, oh, this guy's fucking evil. We're putting him down.
Sure, yeah.
It's like, that's his, like, portfolio, where you learn that he did that, or is a part of that.
Sure, exactly.
The other thing that I would definitely recommend, though, is... if you're doing, I don't know why we keep going to Nazi Germany.
You do.
But I mean, it's the greatest war ever fought so far.
True, and it's more. This is what is being presented to us is the more realistic one in this video as well. So that's probably why as well.
And the thing is, I think, even though I'm gravitating toward World War II, it does give a lot of good examples that you could use in really any other war.
Oh, yeah.
What I think you should do is, and I'm just going to be using the German terms for it because, you know. Give your rank and file enemy soldiers some humanity as well.
Yes.
But you can have the, like, officers or the, like, SS, in this case, be the, like, abject evil ones.
Yeah.
Where you can have the Wehrmacht, be, like, normal dudes, because they effectively were.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you have the SS be monsters. So that way, there's a lot more nuance in just gunning them down.
Yeah.
Because they are just people.
To put another real world kind of aspect to it, in World War I, a lot of the like Russian troops were just, or was it German or Russian? I don't remember, but either way, conscripts, mostly just conscripts.
Yeah.
Which
German and French.
Yeah. Okay, German and French. Okay, and they were just young kids, really, who were out there, and so you can have, you know, kids that don't know what they're doing, really. They're just, they were sent out to do the war.
All quiet on the Western Front.
Yep. A lot of, like, there's ways to put that, like, touch of humanity and that choice as well in front of players, right? Fucking Metal Gear Solid 5. Don't shoot the children, boss. God, don't kill the kids, boss. Save the children, boss.
Can love bloom on the battlefield, boss? God damn it.
But like, legitimately, you know, get the fucking parachute on the kid, boss. Get him out of here and make it so that he's no longer a child soldier, boss. That game is so funny.
But he likes it. That's what the fucking bad guys told
exactly,
me. Why would they lie?
Why would they lie? The game is so great.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So
yeah. Nuance for your enemies, please.
Yes, exactly. Because, like, yes, it's fine to have it's fine to have good versus evil. That's fine. But also just, you know, having those hints of nuance for sure, because it's not all about that usually. A war is not so black and white. It never is.
I mean, you can do this in a single, like, cutscene, basically.
Yeah.
And you can do this in, like, a sentence. And again, World War I. How about this? Whoa, I'm talking about World War I or World War II. Crazy. You are, let's say you're a German soldier.
Sure.
And you're advancing. You know, you just had, like, a big fuck off artillery barrage or something, and you're advancing, and you come up to the enemy trench, and you've brandished your gun, and you go in, and the first thing you see when you round the corner is a French soldier just cradling the body of a fellow soldier.
Oh yeah.
That's it.
Exactly.
And he's alive. What do you do?
Yep.
That's it. That's all you have to do.
Yep.
There's your nuance right there.
Exactly. Yeah, a lot of ways to do it.
Honestly, it's funny considering the circumstance that you're describing. It's insanely easy to do that.
Yeah.
Insanely easy.
Yeah. There's a Pokemon game about the Sengoku War in Japan. Yes, that's Pokemon Conquest.
Yes. Yeah, I saw
it's
that.
Turn-based. It's awesome. It's a strategy game. It's awesome. Turn-based strategy. Yeah, Pokemon Conquest. There you go. The Great Pokemon War has been a fan want for years. Everybody wants it. Everybody wants to see Pokemon killing each other and everything. It's great. It's true I would punch someone over hurting my dog way before I did, so if they hurt my general, but that might be a me thing. No, that's an everyone thing. It's an animal thing, right?
Yep.
They don't understand. Why would you be angry and mean to them?
Yeah, they are innocents in all this.
Yep. I guess Gen 1 had an implication that Lieutenant Surge had been in a war. Yes. He's a lieutenant.
Oh yeah, no, he literally said,
he's like, I'm in a war.
He was shocked and his enemies in the war.
That's right. This reminds me that a ton of newer 40k fans from Space Marine 2 are really desperate to have stories and comics where the different races work together. While I understand that, those Necrons will never live with that human family in peace, and those Dark Eldar will not help that Tau child.
No,
Just
they will
the
not.
wrong setting for that. Sorry. Exactly.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad for them because they are gonna learn that Games Workshop does not give a fuck about anything other than Space Marines.
That's right.
Very sad.
General, Private, why did you only save the dog over your commander? Private, sir, I like the dog better, sir. Yes. As a disabled person, I am glad I wasn't born back then. Yes.
Yeah.
Young kids conscripted for Russia. Are we talking about the war now? Waka waka.
No, we're talking. Actually, you know what? That's something fucking hilarious. So don't worry, it's not that bad.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with killing.
Okay.
So the did you know that Russia currently has like North Korean soldiers fighting with them now?
I didn't.
Yeah, but this is the funny part. Since they're outside of North Korea.
Mm-hmm.
Every single North Korean soldier is now addicted to porn.
Oh, nice.
Because this is the first time they've ever had access to it.
Makes sense.
It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Dude.
I bet they're real effective fighters, huh?
Oh, they're terrible.
Yeah.
They already want to go back home.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
They sent like 30,000 dudes.
Ah.
They are garbage.
Fair enough. War sure does
really
get dark,
funny.
Doesn't it? Yes. Boy,
Yeah, it
howdy.
does.
With all this bad shit, why do people do war again? Because humans gonna human, exactly.
Yes.
Reminder: even Hitler was kind to his dogs, whether he loved them or not can be debated. Yes. But anyway, okay.
If we then look at what plots jump out at us, plots in this kind of situation are very straightforward. Squad, go and assassinate that army general before he leads his forces in to invade us. Squad, go and secure that bridge. There are a couple of enemy troops in the area and we need you to wipe them out and then take the bridge. Squad, go and blow up that bridge.
He must destroy the bridge.
That bridge that you've just blown up. Squad, walk over the bridge that you've just made and then burn it down.
Every time.
It's dude, bridges are really important. Let's just be fair. They're really good, like inventions and useful.
Oh, you know what I was thinking? Sorry, now that he's talking about bridges. Again, that was something I thought of. That's actually a really good. That is a really good source for combats. If you're doing these kinds of war settings, play a Call of Duty game.
Oh yeah, older ones.
Because
yeah,
like one of the older like World War II ones.
Those ones especially.
Those have great settings. I mean, they're known for their set pieces.
Yep.
So if you want a really cool battle set piece, play a Call of Duty game and just basically just rip that out.
Yeah, they can be pretty good for them. The older ones.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Must stress.
Older ones.
Older ones.
Yeah. The locations and like the actual building structures and stuff like that can also be pretty good. Because, it's designed to be an arena, basically.
Yeah.
So.
Watch porn instead of doing war. Yes.
Yes.
So
give love a chance.
Come to mind are obviously assassination type plots, infiltration type plots, espionage, sabotage, and then of course the great big battles. And that is something that we need to look at because mass combat is very seldom well handled in any kind of rule system.
True.
Because, well...
It's a good thing that the second video that I have is going to be specifically about that from him as well. Oh!
That's nice.
It's almost like I planned today.
Oh my god.
It's a massed battle. What are you supposed to do? Roll 100,000 d20s and see which ones hit?
Yes.
Roll a percentile. And
be extra. Be a Giga Chad.
Died and 5% are still alive.
Just instead of playing the TTRPG that you're doing, just bring out the minis and start playing Warhammer. You'll get it. It'll be fine.
Yeah, like, god damn it. I hope you have a lot of guardsmen models. Don't break my immersion by playing an orc army.
No, I just have all of those.
Cyberpunk.
I just have all of those plastic army men, those green army men.
Yeah, dude.
It just doesn't feel right. The best way that I can suggest in order to run a mass combat is to use it narratively. Don't worry about the numbers.
Fair.
Sure, you can roll some dice just to make sure the players think that there's some kind of random outcome to this battle. But what you really want to do is tie it to the players' characters' successes and failures themselves.
Oh, yeah.
The players need to be involved somehow. Well, their characters anyway, need to be involved somehow. And it is the how and what they do during it that should determine the outcome of the battle. If the players are...
So, I'm assuming he's going to go into it, but yeah, having it so that each of the operations is really what goes towards the quote-unquote war score, rather than it being decided by the amount of people that are dead on both sides when the big battles are happening and all that, right? You said, even for those kinds of things, and we'll get to when we get to the actual mass combat thing, but I would say that making it so that the mass combat is more of a backdrop where they are doing objectives during it, right?
Yes.
Reach this point, or secure this barrack.
Bridge.
Destroy that bridge.
The enemy is building a bridge. I can't stop. Yes.
But like legitimately make it so that yes, while they're running to the bridge, they are killing a bunch of minions, basically, you know, making it so that you allow them to empty magazines every turn and all that kind of shit, and you know they might
go pating.
Yeah, they might take and then they shove it back in, and then go again, and then pating, and then it's great.
Yeah, dude.
But
please, if you're gonna do that, you need, if any of you have a soundboard, like when you're playing, get a pating sound.
Exactly.
Please.
Just get your phone out, find the pating. And then play that every time.
It does not matter what setting you're playing in. There will always be a gun that makes a pating sound.
That is right. Exactly.
The thing that I did.
Yeah.
Are you done with? Or sorry, are you?
Well,
done with
I was just gonna be like, even in like the fantasy stuff, if you have them throw out a fireball and it hits an area and you just have a bunch of men die because, you know, minions, right? And then they're taking little bits of damage here and there to make it so that it's still tense. They could still die. Excuse me, goodness. Oh, I'm burping. They could still die and all that. And if they go down, you know, you might even have conditions that are put into place specifically because this is a war, making it so that they're slower. They might then have them split off, you know, all this kind of stuff to make it so that you continue that tense atmosphere of, dude, there's a lot of shit going on. You can't really just stop. You know, this is just what it needs to be. Get from point A to point B to point C to point D to point E. And I swear to God, if you don't, you might not win. I don't know. Right?
Yeah.
So you gotta just keep putting that pressure on, but don't do, like he's saying, rolling 700 die because there are 700 men out there and each of them on your side might hit. I don't know.
Don't be a guardsman player, or don't be an orc player, sorry.
Both.
Fuck your movement phase, although fuck mine too.
Yep.
But the thing that I did, where I had a warlike setting for a very brief moment in Devils and Dice, where I effectively turned it into a skill challenge.
Yes.
And then I threw in, you know, minions and stuff, where if they failed a skill challenge, they might take a little bit of damage, but they're still progressing through a battlefield. And then on occasion, you throw in enemies that are effectively minions, where if you don't know what a minion is, it's a 4th edition thing, where enemies always have a single hit point, and they deal full damage, but they are always hit and killed by area of effect attacks, and any hit just kills them.
Yep.
And it's just meant to help illustrate, you know, having like hordes of enemies that are, you know, weak but killable.
Exactly. You could actually have the entire campaign be about preparing for a battle, and how it turns out depends on how well the characters did at setting things up like they needed to. Yeah.
60 seconds.
60 seconds, or literally the concept of Blades in the Dark with its you were basically, every time you go out and do a mission, you are enacting the plan. And
Yes.
the rewinds and the stress mechanic that comes with that are during that time when you were planning, this is what you did, and so you can try to have that affect the story, or the plan that's going on right now. There's not really role-playing what's going on in the moment, because you've already planned that. You're done. You're going and doing the thing. But,
well, there is, because there's still stuff going on in those moments.
Yeah, there's still the role play of that, but what I mean is you're not like trying to figure out
what
you need to do for this section. No, you just say, this is how we did the thing. You are doing the thing that way. Right?
Yes.
This was always
Mass
the plan.
Effect 2, yeah. Yes.
Mass Effect 2, yeah, exactly.
Big Zinchian energy there.
That's right.
Oh, there's 3 guards instead of 1. All according to plan.
Exactly, right?
As I wipe sweat from my brow.
But legitimately, actually, using the Blades in the Dark like kind of system for something like a mission-to-mission battlefield scenario, you could really do that pretty easily. Of like,
that would be really cool.
We're pushing forward on the battlefield, and we encounter we're pinned down by artillery. Well, I
am pinned here.
Yeah. I use my little rewind thing to say that or really it's just whatever. Just at the moment you're calling it in and scouting it out and using like the binocs and having the bombers go past and blow up the artillery and all that kind of stuff. Right?
You're calling in an artillery strike on the advancing Tyrannid swarm.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you're calling in a sniper to deal with this tank commander who's being a bit of a problem.
Yeah,
and apparently his pants fell down. I don't know why his tank crew is laughing. It's not that funny.
It's not that funny, but it happened.
Okay, good.
I
You blew his head off. Good.
Okay, cool. But yeah, so yeah, something like that. I don't know. Suikoden games for inspiration. I don't know the Suikoden games personally.
I know the name. I've never played any of the games, unfortunately.
Anybody else shocked chat? Let me say porn before? No, they do that. I don't know. YouTube chat restrictions are weird. They let you say some things and other things they're like, no.
Yeah, we don't like that.
So I don't know. Whatever.
Not on our Christian website.
That's right.
Fighting on the trenches.
Oh, yeah. Unironically, it would be kind of cool to have a pseudo Warhammer section of your campaign. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's just one of those things. Like, we were talking to Dave about using different board game, like, elements in the middle of your campain. It's basically doing that. As long as everybody's down for it, yeah, let's do it, right? It might take over the entire session, but you wanted to do it, so, hey, whatever,
Yeah,
that's fine.
We're playing Call of Cthulhu. All of the investigation is going to be taking place with Clue.
Yeah,
fuck you.
Fuck it, right? Why not? One of the missions is literally, well, we're playing Clue now. Whoops.
Yeah, and like you do it for a single investigation, but man, that's gonna be a memorable one.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember that time we fucking got together to play Call of Cthulhu and we just played fucking Clue instead?
Exactly.
It was great.
Yeah, it's definitely something that you can do.
Yeah.
I remember blowing up some tanks with snipers in Valkyria Chronicles at high level. Shoot the magic vent thing on the back, I believe. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You shoot the fucking gallium reactor or whatever it was.
That's right.
And they are slowly making progress as they slaughter hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Frenchmen in the trench as they go forward. Then the battle should start going in the direction of their troops. Of course, when they start to get cocky, the battle then needs to turn quite ferociously as those great big 15-inch guns open up and start blasting the hell out of the trenches that they've just taken. If the players' characters are losing and are having to fall back, well, you've got two options. Either there can be a rallying cry from behind them and a new force comes sweeping in, or some planes dive down from overhead and destroy a key position amongst the enemy, in which case the characters can move forward, or you go into full retreat mode and the campaign takes a dark turn for the twist. Takes a twist as a dark turn now, takes the battlefield, and our characters are forced to admit defeat and retreat.
For now.
I don't like the weird feeling that I get when he says, "Oh, when the players get too cocky, we start to do the bad thing to them." Yeah. Like, I'm not a big fan of that because I'm more about the organic feel of the story rather than this is in like, yes, I want things to be decided by the players, But because they took the hill, that's why the cannons are shooting at them, right? Because they want that fucking hill back.
Yeah, now, to be fair, that is something that could absolutely happen.
Yes.
Where, you lose a trench, and then you get a call on the radio, hey, we lost the trench, bomb it.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not because
Exactly.
they're getting cocky, right? It's because the asset is there and the people want it. Right. So it needs to make more sense, I think.
Yes, it does.
So let's not encourage people to
do it specifically because they did what they're supposed to do.
Yes. Because the players are more cocky. I don't know. I don't like that.
I don't really follow that.
I never understand.
What do they? Oh, we killed all the enemies. Great. Now let's just sit here and wait for them to refill.
Yeah.
Are they not going to advance?
Right. Shoot. Take a continent and risk, and I'll be coming at you. That's right.
Yeah.
Don't let the dice try and determine the outcome of your battle. All you'll end up doing is playing with yourself, and no one likes to watch that. If we then look at the options that we have,
I think you could still do that, but like give bonuses to like pushes because of what the characters are doing, like you can gamify it a little bit just so that it's not a constant, you're doing the good thing, you're winning, you're doing the good thing, you're winning, because opposition is still going to be there and they're still going to be trying to go against what you're doing. And yeah, you might get one thing, but they might try to get something else, and thus giving them an advantage. Like, as long as you make the battlefield itself more nuanced in the sense of like, there are so many objectives here. If you get this one, well, they might get that one, and theirs might be better than yours technically. Like, it really just depends.
You're going to try to take that hill, but the enemy is going to wind up trying to take that bunker.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if that is what... If you put your A squad to getting the hill instead of getting the bunker, well, what do you expect?
Yeah.
The enemy gets the bunker, I guess. Unless, they sent their B squad as well. In which case, sure, I guess we then have to figure out if the A squad or the B squad wins. Or, sorry, either B squad for either side. I don't know. Like, there's a lot that you have to kind of keep track of. Which is it's unfortunate, the complexities of war.
Right?
But
it really just be easy.
Yeah.
Why can't we just have a fucking Dragon Ball tournament where we have fucking Goku and Piccolo be representatives of nations?
Exactly. Or
why can't we just fight like that? It'd be fucking badass.
If we want to go even more cursed and go to old lore of League of Legends, why can't we just have our champions go into an arena and fight, and if they win, we win, and if they don't win, well,
yeah,
old lore.
Just do us a favor, hands like praying emoji. Don't kill our champions, please.
That's right.
don't assassinate our champions.
Please don't do that. Oh my god. If you don't want so much complexity. Again, having it depends on how much you want to invest in this war arc, right? If you want it to be more simplistic, make it more simplistic. It's fine, right?
If you want it to be like the main backdrop, go for it. Like, going back to the hill and the bunker thing.
Yeah.
What if, you're fighting a war. Yeah. You're a military unit, and you have, let me see here. What am I trying to say? The other army and the armies as a whole. Do you think personally that if you were having a World War I style army battle going on, do you think you would have that battle have the player characters and individual enemies rolling dice when they fight, as well as having the whole army roll dice to see how the overall battle is going? Because this suggestion would affect that.
Yeah.
Because it is a touch weird in a war to have just the player characters be the only one that makes the difference.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Yeah. So I would probably have everything.
Okay. Then that's good.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. God damn it. Instead of war, why not make the Olympics a little more interesting? Yo!
Put a little bit of a wager on it.
Just going around.
That's right.
Anyway, so in this scenario where you've got a war, the players and their individual enemies are rolling dice, and you are also rolling dice for the armies as a whole. Yeah. What you should do is, in the bunker hill thing, what if you have the bunker, and if the player characters take it, they are in a far better position for, like, the rest of, you know, like, the encounter or whatever.
Sure.
They have, like, bonuses to their, you know, defense or evasion or whatever while they're in the bunker, and they are a force to be reckoned with now.
Yep.
However, if they take the hill, they raise a flag, and it raises the morale of the whole rest of the nearby army.
Sure.
So that way you actually have a reason for them to consider either objective.
Yeah.
And it makes it so that way there is a bit of an actual flow to it, because just because the enemy took that bunker, yeah, they're going to be hard to dislodge, but the hill is going to ultimately be more valuable to the war effort. But the enemies, whether they are a single squad of, like, you know, mirror images of the player characters, or maybe it's an enemy like command unit or something like that, they try to take the bunker so that way they can do their own shit.
Yeah.
And of course you have, like, you're going to have more than just these two different objectives.
Oh, of course.
And maybe only 2 or 3 of them can be captured in this encounter.
Yeah.
And then the next day will happen, and that's when they'll have to try to, like, bring it back.
Yeah.
And if they leave the hill, it might get lost again. That way you can have, like, a legitimate back and forth.
Yeah. I like that idea, and I'm all about it. It's just one of those things. Again, it's just how much do you want to get into it, right? Because some people might not enjoy that push and pull kind of action there. That, you know, all this kind of stuff.
You have to make sure people are aware they're in for a long grinding war.
If you're going to be doing,
because if you're doing World War I, I think they're ready for that.
Yeah, exactly. If we have said, hey guys, let's play a war, then
let's do a war,
and everybody's like, yeah, okay, and you go, so
sweet, I'll go get my AR-15.
Right. So if this happens, then this will happen, and we've got this whole system of, if you take objectives, they'll try to take objectives, and it will be this constant shift of power. So
until you win this particular battle.
Exactly. Like there's a whole thing. World War I? Nah, the troops will be home by Christmas. True. But you gotta, as long as you're putting that forth and everybody's okay with it, obviously it's gonna work out just fine, right? So it's, again, you make it as simple or as complex as you really want it to be. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, it's gonna take some time. It's gonna take time, but if you want that World War I style battle to be fucking memorable as shit, that's how you can do it.
Yeah. Have in terms of reference material. Now, I haven't gone into great detail on war because war plots themselves are, as I said, fairly straightforward. What you want to do is you want to play the NPCs. So you create that little squad that goes through boot camp. And from boot camp, they go out into the field. And you've got someone named Chalky and someone named Stumpy and someone named Three Legs Magoo. And they all form this little cadre of people. Is
it because he's got 3 legs or a huge dick?
Yes.
Goes out there and saves the day. And slowly you want to start picking them off. Have the surgeon who slips them just a little bit of extra whiskey when they're in the hospital. Have the nurse who flirts with the players. Have the soldier who's always morose and writing home, but he really cares deeply for the squad and dies saving the squad by throwing himself on a grenade.
Have really, really obvious tropes.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Like, yeah, you can put all that stuff in there. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, you know, it's up to you how you want to play those things, because it could be about the NPCs or it could be about the players and their dynamic, really, and how they interact with the world more so, you know. And the NPCs might not be so prevalent in that case of, like, these other squad members potentially, because they might be just dealing with their own thing, like the players might just be dealing with their own thing and not really interacting with too much of the outside squad necessarily, but they could interact with refugees, or they could interact with other soldiers on the other side, you know, like there's a bunch of different kinds of people they could interact with, right?
Dude. Oh, I just had a fucking fantastic thought. I'm sorry, I keep going back to World War One and
It's
II.
fine.
But did you ever see that movie where there was that one night, Christmas night, where both armies fucking laid down their arms?
Yeah, I know of the thing. Yeah.
That would be so incredible to have that moment where, you know, they've been in the campaign for maybe like a year or so.
Yeah.
And they're just fighting their enemies and they're in the trenches and shit. And then one of them comes waving a flag and it's like, hey, it's Christmas night. And then you just have you have the soldiers fucking, dude. God, that would be so fucking good.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
That's such a good movie. True story, by the way.
Yeah, oh yeah, I know. I only know it from the true story. I've never seen the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's good that they made a movie about it.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's a good humanizing thing, really. Because again,
a very powerful thing to have happened.
We've talked about it, but yeah, war is not black and white, and that's a great moment to really show that. Because it's like, yeah, everybody, it's fucking Christmas. Like, yeah, we can go back to killing each other tomorrow. It's fine.
And yeah, it's heartbreaking that even in the real story, they're like, man, I don't want to go back to killing you guys tomorrow. It's very sad. I think they actually had to like call some higher command there to like force them to do it.
Probably. Anyway,
I forget what that movie is called.
I don't know. Yeah, but I know of the event. It's really interesting and powerful stuff. Really.
Yeah, it's very beautiful. Anyway, sorry, that was just a thought because I forgot about that.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Opportunity in war is to bring out the best of humanity, or inhumanity if you're playing an alien war campaign. So when we look at references, we have things like Saving Private Ryan, Band of Brothers, The Pacific. Kelly's Heroes is an interesting example of humor and the darkness of war. You've got this deranged tank commander played by a very indomitable Donald Sutherland back in the day, and Clint Eastwood running around, well, basically stealing gold. I won't give away the ending in case you haven't watched it.
I've not seen it, actually.
Movie from the 60s, I think, maybe the early 70s, that looks at war from a slightly humorous perspective, but there's plenty of killing and there's plenty of tragedy in it.
Well, it's like, I've not watched it myself, but everybody knows about Inglourious Bastards and the one scene and the one guy. You know, the Nazi guy, and like that most really tense fucking scene that he's a part of.
The opening scene?
Is it the opening scene, or is it
the one where he's talking to the French farmer in his house?
Yes.
Yes. That's like, the opening scene.
I didn't know that, actually. Okay.
Yeah,
I've not watched it.
Great.
So, but like, it's really tense. And you have that, but you also have all the other shit.
Yeah, the absolute bombastic ridiculousness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like, that's another one, of course, of a good juxtaposition. For sure.
Fantastic. Good movie.
It's always offset, isn't it? Then you've got something like The Terminator. Now, The Terminator is a war movie. Not the actual idea of the Terminator as an individual machine going back in time, but the idea that the machines go to war against man.
Yeah, I wouldn't call The Terminator a war movie, because the actual war for humanity has like so little to do with what... Like, it's a part of it, sure.
Yeah,
but it's not really much of the focus.
It's not the focus. That's kind of like calling Die Hard a heist movie.
Exactly. It's not. It's
There's
an
a
action.
heist in it.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's an action movie.
So, a good try.
A good attempt.
I get what you're trying to say, but it's not. It's not.
Yeah. Not really, no.
No. Other countries, what do you mean play a board game for 20 years? Me, well, if you really want to rule the world, then you would commit to those 20 years for that game, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's true.
And it's the struggle that we get to see glimpses of in the first movie, and then in the fourth movie, I think Salvation is where we get to see that.
Yeah, but
really
we don't want to see that.
So we don't want to see that, though.
We barely wanted to see 3. In fact, we don't want to see 3, really. We don't want to see anything after 2, all right?
Yeah.
We don't. Thank you.
We really don't.
Day. I haven't watched the second movie, but the first movie was all about war.
Nobody wants to see the second of Independence Day
looked
either.
At
it's
the
garbage.
Savagery of an alien invasion and what that did to families and things. It was also fairly amusing. There were moments of humour. Again, we need that to offset things. Generally speaking, though, war is all about death and grimness and finding moments of light. I hope that has helped a little bit in terms of how you approach a war campaign. They can be a lot of fun, but you need to make sure that your players are interested in playing a command structure type game. Now, you could arguably run a war campaign where the players are an independent group moving around Iraq trying to steal gold, or perhaps they're in the Crimea and they just want to get out and survive. That's entirely possible. But again, then it shifts from once they've got out of the battle, what do they then do? Then it just becomes...
Pete's fun.
Yeah, bro. I wish the president fought aliens in a fighter jet. Hell yeah.
Dude, I wish the president fought the vice president in a fucking mech. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Really a slightly...
Fucking Metal Wolf Chaos is so great. I'm glad they remade that game.
They did?
Yeah, it's on Steam.
Oh, good.
Yeah, man.
Good.
It's great.
modern setting with them going on about their lives. So the idea of...
People only really want to see Terminator 2 and not 1. Depends on who you talk to. Who? Because both are really good.
I would... if you're talking about wanting to see the additional movies, the answer then would be normies. Normies want to see more.
No. He's saying just in general that there are some people out there who only want, or who say that you should only see 2 and not 1.
Oh!
Which is a very strange thing that I've never heard of.
Yeah, that's fucking weird. Why would you not want to see 1 to give you the proper context for 2?
Like, I get that technically you can see 2 without 1. It does work still, ish. You know, you get a lot of information and everything. You're not set up fully on Sarah Connor and why she goes fucking nuts, and the way she is, and she's fucking great. But yeah, I mean, that's crazy, man.
Oh, same people who pick Aliens over Alien?
So that is different, I want to say, because Aliens is a very different feel over Alien, where Terminator 2 is pretty similar to Terminator 1, except there's,
it just has a slightly different tone. It's the same type of movie. It's still an action movie, whereas Alien is a horror movie, and Aliens is much
action.
more of like a thriller action.
And it definitely has the horror elements still. Like there is, but it's
it's nowhere near as strong.
It's less focused on horror itself, I would say.
Yeah, because that's not really the objective of the movie.
Well, it still is there. It still is one of the objectives to show that they're still horrifying in a way. But
but I think that because the rest of the movie is pretty dominated with the action parts, I think it's certainly less so.
I think
not in a bad way.
So here's the thing. I think it's like it reminds me more of Predator in the sense that that is an action movie to a point, and then it becomes a horror movie. Where in Aliens, I think it is still a horror movie all the way through. It just does feel different. Because they are still against an overwhelming odds, and they still get picked off one by one, and you still have those elements that are still there. It's just there's more aliens, and that's really the only different feel, I guess. Because with the one, you get that cat and mouse kind of thing, right? Where it feels a lot more effective in that way. But again, with the aliens, it's that swarm mentality, which is a different type of horror, I guess. Which is why people think, I imagine, why people think it's more of an action movie, because they have the guns, they're able to fight them technically, but it's still not they still don't like overcome that a lot. It's not Starship Troopers, right? That's
well, I mean, even Starship Troopers.
yeah, but even so, they have the thing of like everybody's still fighting, and at the end they win, right? They're afraid,
Yeah,
and
that's
all
true.
that, right? That's more the feel that I would say, oh yeah, that's an action movie, right? Whereas Aliens, I'm like, that's still horror. It's just different.
Yeah, it's a different tone of horror.
Exactly. But anyway, I have seen people say that, yes, for Terminator and Terminator 2. That's insane to me. That's very weird.
Yeah, that's strange. I'm not the biggest movie guy. That's still kind of strange to me because I do know that like the general plot of Terminator 1 is, Schwarzenegger comes back and is trying to kill,
Sarah
Mr. Connor. Sarah Connor.
Sarah
Okay,
Connor.
Missed. And after that, they survive, and then a second one comes back, and they rewire him, and now he is a friendly robot, very friendly.
It is a different tone for sure.
Yes, and so you have the context of seeing the Terminator as this soulless killing machine, and then after that, you get to see them bond with it.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Yeah,
it's a very different experience, and I think a lot of people prefer Terminator 2 over Terminator 1 just because it is like a really good sequel, and it's probably, I don't know if it's the better movie. I would have to rewatch them both to really I don't know. They both have a lot of merits. And
I've always heard people say that Terminator 2 is like one of the greatest sequels ever made.
It is because it's good. Like that's the thing, right?
Well, here's the thing is I don't really know. It's hard to give it that justification when the majority of movies in the 80s were just fucking better.
Yeah, but
it's kind of hard.
Sequel movies though were not.
I mean, you still had Alien in Aliens.
Yes,
which still an excellent sequel.
89 and 90 something. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, but
what I'm saying is it's a very rare thing to have a sequel that was good. Because
true.
Predator 2, people like that movie, and I don't understand. There are a lot of elements that I like in it, but the moment that the alien just yells at him, what the fuck did he say? What's the line? Fuck. I can't remember, but he says something.
Motherfucker?
Yeah. I think he says something like that. Like he recorded it and then says it to him. I'm like, okay, well, you've lost me. It's campy as fuck. I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, I don't know. It's. I can't think of many sequels that have been in the same time period, I guess. Other than Terminator 2 and Aliens.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, I always hear that it's like one of the best, even though I don't think I've ever actually watched it. Or at least not all the way through.
Yeah, you should.
I probably won't.
What's his name? The kid is a little annoying here and there, but...
I mean, it's a kid in a movie. Of course he's going to be fucking annoying.
But,
But yeah.
It's not bad. Batman Returns over Batman 1989. That's fair. I don't know. It's a direct sequel, I guess. Because the Batman stuff, that's just like, it doesn't, like, yeah, it's a sequel-ish, but like, I don't know. They feel different. Like, they feel like they could be their own things a lot of the time. Yeah. And I guess Terminator is also the same way. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
it's weird. Anyway.
It could be in a whole alternate universe, for all we know.
For all we know.
It could all be a dream. God damn it.
Technically, it is an alternate universe if you think about the newer movies. Oh my god. Fuck me forever. Anyway.
One of these days, we're going to run a campaign, and at the end, when you've done everything, I'm just going to hit you with, and then you wake up.
No, fuck off. Nobody ever remembers the president.
Were sleeping in the same bed.
Nobody ever remembers the president. Frank Horrigan is the big guy you fight. Vice President Frank Horrigan.
Yeah.
True. Starship Troopers was brave to have the villains win. True.
Yeah, Helldivers too, as well.
I think normies are the ones who say 2 over 1 since it's more critically acclaimed. That is the theory I have. Fair enough.
Yeah, that's fair.
I wouldn't. 80s movies are better. Animal House sucked. I hear people like that. I've not watched it myself. I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of a rare opinion. That I don't think I've ever heard many people say they think it sucked.
I don't know. But I've never watched it, so I have no opinion on it.
Same. I'm not. So I think most of everybody here knows that I'm not the movie guy.
Yeah.
I like movies, but I get bored sitting still for too long when I'm not controlling what's going on.
That is fair.
War is a purist setting without magic or ancient zombie Nazis from outer space, or
unless it is, and that sounds awesome.
Yeah,
the idea of war is a fairly serious campaign. It's not something that you do on a whim. I think it's something that you decide you want to try something different, and you want to see just how far you can go or not, as the case might be. And as I said, war is never a good thing in reality, even though it does weed out the plebs from those that are smart enough not to get killed. But anyway, that's
a weird thing to say, but okay.
So
I mean,
for me,
it is true.
I want to wish you...
Or
Well,
just
I
the
want to
people
remind
who
you that
can't
now on-
not fight because they are forced to. I don't know. There's also that. So
Yeah.
maybe don't say that.
Wars weed out the plebs.
Yeah, it's a little. Don't know about that one.
2024.
Yikes.
No, this was
like
whenever.
5 years ago. I don't know.
Yeah.
7 years ago. Who knows? Little still.
Yeah, still.
on Patreon, and to all of our Patreon subscribers so far, you are a fantastic bunch of people. You're going to start seeing changes happening.
You are not plebs who will die in the
soon.
war.
Yeah,
As
Jesus.
we start to head into our second month of Patreon. We launched on the 1st of October, still going strong, and I look forward to role-playing with some of you that are on Patreon with us. There's some pretty amazing rewards in the tier structure that we've set up for you. If you don't know what it is, head on over and have a look. The link is at the end of the video. And for our regular viewers who are there and keep posting your comments, I think you are doing a fantastic job. Every morning I check through the comments because, as you know, I respond to them all, and I'm amazed by some of the questions and some of the options that you guys are presenting us with, and I really do appreciate it. So thank you very, very much. Until next time then, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and from this comrade to you, and from you, comrade, to me, I wish you the very happiest of gaming.
Thanks, man.
Nice.
Okay.
The only thing I remember from this video is war weeds out the plebs.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
God.
That's all I'm gonna remember.
Real bad. Real fucking bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've woken up from a few dreams that made me think it was really important to go back to sleep. Same. You could end a campaign with Azathoth waking up. That's true.
Yeah, you could.
You could
totally
do that. You were so big-brained you stopped bullets. Wait, I thought the ones that died were the ones the Valkyries wanted to take. Exactly! Come on! The characters in Animal House are assholes and they expect you to like them. I hated it. And it had a horse getting a heart attack and thought you would laugh.
Okay, fair.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. It's never been something that's like been on my list. It's never been something that made me go, oh, I want to watch that. Because everybody just was like, I like Animal House. And I was like, okay.
Okay. Yeah, it's just kind of one of those classic kind of like sex comedies from the 80s, which there were a lot of those.
Okay, yeah.
And kind of like college comedies.
Yeah, gotcha. Anyway, so, next up, as said, is where's my thinking? How to run a big battle, mass combats, all that kind of stuff.
I hope that they bring up turning it into a skill challenge so that I can feel smart.
Right? So,
and I can say that they copied my ass.
That's right.
Yes.
So
when did this video come out?
Same kind of time period, I think.
They still copied me.
Of course,
they went into the future, watched, and were like, yo, that's a good idea.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm sure he's very handsome. I'm going to take that idea.
No, see, if you take your fucking technology, you put your brain back there and you gave them the idea, And then you came back forward into future. It's you. You did this.
I stole from myself?
Exactly.
Oh my god. God damn, I'm so intelligent. They'd never think of that.
That's right.
Why would I ever steal from myself?
Okay. So this is Great GM, How to Run a Big Battle, Mass Combat.
It was you, Barry.
I fucking love that meme so much.
Know,
so thank you for referencing it.
In a very, very good way. I love that.
Oh,
Fuck
it was
me,
you,
man. I love
Barry.
it was me, Barry. I love that.
So good.
It's so stupid.
It's so dumb.
But
I
it's
fucking
totally
love it.
something he would fucking
Oh, yeah.
do.
Oh, he loves it. Oh, he loves
Vaughn is
it.
an asshat, man.
I know. It's so good. Anyway, Great GM,
Yeah.
How to Run a Big Battle, Mass Combat in your RPG session, Game Master Tips, GM Tips.
Whew.
Here we go. It's how to be a great GM. He's taught us about war. Now he can tell us about killing. A big battle.
Cover your ears.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, true. Hold on. Let me
Yep.
turn this down again. There we go.
And then don't hit the reset video button.
Oh, this one wasn't that bad.
Okay. Yeah, that one's
All
not too
right,
bad.
sir. Well, we've managed to take the
Oh.
point, but I'm afraid there's just thousands of them.
Cool paintball like mask. That's neat.
This is going to be a mass
Cool
combat.
skeleton, dude.
I don't know if we're going to survive or not. Let's see how the GM runs mass combat.
Nice.
Well, hello and welcome to this episode of Mass Combat.
Oh,
We're looking at, of course, the idea of how to simulate thousands or millions of warriors or combatants all engaged in the singular activity of trying to kill themselves.
Step one.
yikes.
Step one, play Warhammer.
Yeah, really?
That's it.
Yeah.
Step two, anti-profit.
True. So in order for mass combats, I think at least before he gets into his stuff, I would say that the way that I would do it is what we've been talking about. Really, the minions aspect, right? A lot of the time, it's just you don't want 67 million things that have, 10 armor or 15 armor each, and then it's like, oh, you hit them or you don't. Oh, God. Even in something that is like a more quote-unquote realistic setting or whatever, hell, I think the Warhammer games themselves even do it pretty easily in the sense of you just roll to hit, and if you hit and you wound, then, you do damage, and at that point you could still use minions in that case of like, oh, well, some of the enemies are one hit because they're chaff, right?
They're Skaven slaves. Of course they're going to die.
Exactly. So, if you run it that way, I think it'll go faster. I think if you do the skill challenges, as you said, it can be more interesting. In
More
that
like
way,
cinematic.
yeah,
And you can focus it on more so if they're focusing more on an objective rather than just killing.
yeah, exactly. Well, hell, we even came up with different ways to really combat the hordes that were against us. Hell, I finally used that paper golem at that point because it was like, well, yeah, like there's a lot of guys. If I just put the paper everywhere, hello,
Yeah,
it'll
well,
cut them up. That's crazy.
It's gonna hurt him.
Yeah. And then I had my paper mech, and it was great.
Oh, I'm so sad that didn't come back. Only did it once.
Right? Yeah, I know.
That was so stupid and cool.
It was. It was really dumb, but I loved it.
Origami golem,
Yep.
baby.
It was so good.
If you weren't inside of it, it could be a transformer.
Yeah, it's true.
That's what I should have had you do. Fuck your stupid ink summoning. That shit was dumb. It should have been a transforming paper mech.
If I
that would
didn't
have been
have,
fucking awesome.
if I didn't have the ink summoning, though, we would have had so much more problems.
Well, if you had the ability to just summon paper golems that could transform,
Oh well,
it
yeah.
would have effectively done the same thing.
Exactly. But the
It
ink
just would
was,
have been way more thematic and cool.
well, the ink was
But
more
the ink-
thematic, to be fair.
It's fair.
But anyway.
Yeah.
we're running a mass war, so say hi to Jim, Tim, Kim, Zim, Pim, and Bob at the co-DMs.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yes.
Anyway, but yeah, so I think that's the easiest way to do it. And we were talking about the objective-based kinds of things. Like, it's really all the stuff that we've said about the war stuff. We've kind of talked about how we would do the mass combat stuff because they're kind of intertwined a lot of the time, unless you are not on the battlefield, right?
Yeah.
In which case, you're usually doing something else that's to help the war effort a lot of the time.
Artillery, logistics, messages.
Yeah. Zim can handle that. He's good at invading. That's true.
Oh, God damn it.
Yeah, you got
well done. I wasn't ready here for that.
Just remember the war hero will be a drill instructor named Zim.
Now, mass combat is handled in various systems using large amounts of percentiles or rolls. There's determinant factors.
Why are you so close to me right now, guy?
I don't know. It's like a Jinxie stream.
Did you back up a little bit? I mean, you got the chair there. Come on.
Yeah, you can roll back.
Calculate in the average skill of the warriors.
Oh, sorry, the skeleton's climbing up the back of the chair. He can't really sit back on it. He'd hit his hand.
Yeah, it's true. Dude, the fucking... Now you've got me thinking about this in, like, from his point of view. Like, third person in the same room as Guy right now. How fucking close is he to that camera?
Exactly.
He's just like...
Starship Trooper reference? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Gotcha.
As the geography starts to become important, and you factor in all of those, and by the end of the day, you've spent 4 hours trying to work out the outcome of something which should be bloody obvious to everybody anyway.
Oh.
The outcome of that should very well be whatever it is that you want because you're in charge.
Yes and no.
Yeah, definitely. Come on now.
Like,
you really shouldn't devolve it and diminish it down into that.
Yeah.
Come on now.
I mean, it should really be the culmination of the players planning their efforts and the forces themselves and how good they would be and what the strategic, like, again, you can make it as simple as you want. That is true. But at the end of the day, you want there to be
that simple.
Yes, you want there to be opposition. You don't want there to be a clean sweep. Like, no matter what they do, that it will turn into this one outcome.
Make it simple. Don't make it stupid.
Exactly.
But yes, I know there should be consequences, there should be values, and there should be numbers. So, if you are hoping that this video on mass combat is going to give you the secret formula that you just plug in all of these values and out pops a d20 that you roll to determine who wins the battle or not, I'm afraid you are sorely disappointed.
Good.
Because maths is not needed in large-scale combat. At least not in my opinion.
Okay.
Large-scale combat, for me, this is my equation.
Okay.
PC successes during the mass combat, plus the narrative imperative that you want to drive forward equals the outcome of the combat.
Okay, there should be way more than that.
I mean, if we want it to be that simple, that's
If
fine.
you want it to be insanely simple, fine, but there does need to be, I would say, at least, like, 2 more.
Like, I would say that if the players succeed enough, then yes, right? There's the threshold of successes versus defeats, right? Objective secured, right?
Yes, objective secured, the general equalness or disparity between the two major forces, or the
multiple or whatever.
Yeah, multiple forces, the amount of successes and failures achieved by those forces, regardless of the disparity between them.
Yeah,
there needs to be way more than just 2, dude. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like
I know you want it simple, but that's not enough.
I'm fine with you doing it to a degree. If you are putting players' failures into the equation as well, right? Inherently. Because then at least you're taking that into account. Because, yeah, you might want it to go a certain way because you want your players to succeed and thus the war go in a certain direction because of them and their actions. But again, I feel like we can also be flexible with the idea of the campaign and make it so that they could also not win.
Yeah, because, like...
Right? Because there's a lot of
think,
directions you can go with that, like we were saying before.
You would think that if you are specifically designing a campaign that's based around war, you would account for the possibility of them losing.
Yes. Exactly.
Because that's kind of how wars work. Someone wins and someone loses.
Yep.
And it might, unfortunately, be you that loses, not wins.
Yes. Yeah. Could be unfortunate that you win. You never know.
That's true. But like I would say that this system would not work for anybody who is trying to do a very like sensible, in-depth war that's meant to feel like, more things have impact.
Yes.
But this would work for someone who's trying to do a mass battle in like 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Like if you have, it's like, oh shit, there's a mass battle coming up. Oh, here, just do this.
Yeah. It would be fine for a session. Right?
Yes, exactly.
This is a skirmish rather than a war.
Yes. That's a good way to put it.
I would say to try not to have a Deus Ex Machina happen. Yes, exactly. That as well.
You got that too.
Yep.
If there are two armies fighting against one another, the PCs are on one side, they are doing successful little things, which I will cover shortly, and they have succeeded in all of them, then the outcome of the battle should be that the side that the PCs are on wins. Now, the rest is entirely up to you as to how that happens. Alternatively, if the PCs are failing at their tasks or not doing their tasks,
thank God.
then the outcome should be that the enemy wins.
Okay.
That's as simple and as complicated as it should get.
Okay. All right. So with that context, yes, that is a way for it to work.
Better.
Yes, with a skirmish of two armies, mass armies fighting each other, objectives being secured and lost. Fine. Yes. Yeah. If that's how you want it to play out, if they get as many as this, they will probably win. If they get as little as this, they will probably lose.
Yeah, so
absolutely fine.
Yeah, I'm warming back up to it because now that I'm not in the mindset of this is still a full war campaign.
Yeah, exactly.
This is more just a battle.
Yes.
But how do you make mass combat interesting? How do you make it so that it feels as if the PCs are, as a matter of fact, having an impact on the combat? And how does you make it feel as if the combat is moving backwards and forwards in the same kind of fluid way that it should under real circumstances?
Very good.
Well, that is what the subject of this video is about.
Okay,
perfect.
Fine.
I'm on board.
Yes.
Number one. It should
get the fuck away from the camera. That's number one. Anyway.
Yeah.
Always be player focused.
Yes.
Because otherwise the mass combat is simply a narrative backdrop. So just like walking through a forest, walking through a mass combat would simply be a descriptor in the background if the players are not involved. Now, how do you get the players involved?
I would love it if he did, like, in these older videos, if he did an April Fool's video where he's just, like, the entire frame is just his eye as he talks.
That would be good. Yes, that would be very good.
That would be great.
Well, the players can be involved by accident, the players can be involved by choice, the players could be involved by being hired by the local individual who's about to launch the campaign. If the players are running around in mechs, and the local Star Lord wants to take over a planet, he might hire the players to be part of a special task force that will be involved during the major battle.
He's taking the mercenaries idea, so there you go.
One doesn't necessarily think of, or need to think of mass combat as a singular engagement. As a matter of fact, it shouldn't be a singular engagement. Very few battles were simply won in a single venture.
True.
Often there were lots of different things happening all over the place that contributed to the outcome, or the battle lasted for many days and didn't turn into a siege. So there are different ways of running a mass combat. Ultimately, however, the players should always be involved. and they should always be involved in important things. Now, if you want the players to be involved and all they're doing is they're on latrine duty all the time, well, unless you're throwing in some kind of demon that happens to like latrines, you are wasting the players' time. The players need to be involved, and your mass combat will only feel as mass and as combat-y as you involve the players. Otherwise, like I said, it's just a descriptor.
Yes,
so how do you...
I think at the end of the day, if a mass combat is happening, nobody is putting the fucking PCs in the back lines to go and sit and wait.
That would be fucking hilarious, though.
It would be, but it is not something anyone would do. Unless it was literally meant for comedy, and that's it, and the war didn't matter at all.
Well, now, here's what you could do.
Okay.
You could actually start that off that way if you wanted to be at least slightly subversive, where your characters start out on latrine duty, and then a fucking shell or a fireball or something lands near them, and then, you know, like, guns get, like, blasted away in the blast, and they land on that, like, near them, and they're like, oh shit, now we have to fight too, fuck.
I guess.
That could be kind of funny. You know, it's like, that's the opening of the campaign, and then, you know, after that, you know, it's normal.
Right.
It's like, oh man, you guys were caught drinking on watch. Now you're busted down to latrine duty. But I'm the best marksman. Fuck you. And then after that, you know,
I guess, yeah, you could.
It'd be kind of funny. Just a little gag.
Yeah, depends.
Yeah.
Last time I did it, I just divided a space in the map off where the PCs would have a combat encounter, and everything outside that area was understood to be more fighting going on there. They just needed to push through the area so they get to the boss in the back. Yeah, that's a way to do it as well.
Yeah, that's a way to do it, yeah.
I don't know, it's,
I think in this case, I don't know, that would be a bit different, because that is kind of like he said, where the mass combat itself is kind of a descriptor, rather than an actual mass combat.
It's a backdrop.
Yes, and this video is more focused on actually having the players in that mass combat.
Right, and like, I guess, so in that instance as well, I feel like I would, if I wanted that to happen, it would be fighting the officer while other people are also still fighting, like, trying to shoot them when they're, you know, fighting with them. But they'd still be, like, minions and such that you could take out easily and make it so that the combat is easier because you're only fighting that one guy. And, you know,
are you telling me? Sorry.
I was going to say, in every moment or so, like, every couple of rounds, you know, you get more guys who come in who are like, oh, we'll help you, Major, you know, and they're coming in and all that shit.
Are you telling me that you would have stormtroopers coming in and try to shoot the Jedi
yes.
during an honorable duel with the Sith?
Absolutely I would.
You monster.
Yes, I'm sorry. I don't believe in people just standing by and watching other people who are very important die.
But they're so enthralling to watch. What do you mean the fucking stormtrooper with the flame trooper just flamethrowers Rey?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
that would be fucking great. Everybody just turns like,
it's
what?
It's the classic, well, why aren't they all coming at him at once thing, you know?
You know, there is actually a term for that in writing. It's called mook chivalry. That's literally what it's called.
I didn't know that there was an actual term for it. That's stupid. Yep. I love it.
Yep. It's great. It's the reason why all the Goombas and Koopas don't rush you in Mario.
Yeah.
And it's also the reason why all those people surrounding Indiana Jones didn't just fucking jump his ass.
Exactly.
It is mook chivalry.
That's so dumb.
It's great. And it is one of the most cinematic things ever. Because it makes no fucking sense.
And nobody likes
great entertainment.
Nobody likes it. There are instances where in something like Indiana Jones, it feels appropriate because those are based off of based off of the old serials and the pulp fucking feel of it, right? With that kind of shit. But, like, you know, other things where there are like 16 men and there's the one guy and they keep going one at a time.
Yeah, it's great.
It's dumb as fuck, and everybody doesn't like it.
It even happens in video games naturally when people round the corner get shot.
Yes.
Round the corner, get shot.
Yeah, exactly, right?
I'm sure that, man, he got executed immediately. It's not going to be me.
It's not gonna be me, though. I'm built
Couldn't
different.
be me.
Fucking built different, brother.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah, so...
But yeah, there's a little something for you to learn today. Move
yeah,
chivalry.
that's interesting.
Yep, it's great.
But yeah, so it's like the best way for me to put a instance where it makes at least sense that in like a more modernish movie, right, was Old Boy, the original Old Boy. That one scene, everybody knows the scene, the hallway fight scene. Where it's a very small hallway, so you can't have everybody go at once because they can't fit.
You physically fit.
Yeah, so it works. It works really well because everybody who can does, but you know, not everybody can. So
yeah,
it's great.
Here's the other thing: in movies, not everybody can fucking choreograph the Ip Man fight.
Yeah, but they should try.
They should
because Ip Man is great. Fucking hell, I gotta rewatch those movies now.
Yeah,
fucking hell, they're great.
Yeah. And yes, I know it's Ip Man. Fuck you. I'm just saying.
Whatever.
Ip Man
Yeah.
fun.
Everybody. Yeah.
Ipman.
Ipman, like Pikmin, but Ipman.
Yeah, dude.
Basically, they dealt with the Kobold dungeon by getting one of the leaders to go against the king, and they had taken out some other leaders beforehand to press their troops into becoming allies. So that was where the setup was beforehand. The setup beforehand was. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I get you.
Yeah. Oh fuck! I shouldn't have done that.
Oh,
damn it!
You involve the players. Well, firstly, the planning and the uncovery of this major battle. Do the PCs
uncovery?
arrive to find?
Yeah. That doesn't feel right.
I don't really know.
Is it?
Whatever. Anyway,
yeah,
that's not what we're here for.
No.
The general
Not here to
in
roast
an
his
absolute
grammar
state
or
of
lack
panic
thereof.
because we've just learned that the enemy Tsinkethi are on their way with 1,000 troops and 4,000 cavalry, as well as a damn dragon. We're in trouble.
Jesus.
Now the PCs are involved. Now missions start to be delivered. Now missions start to form the backbone of your mass combat.
Okay.
If it is just free-for-all, then it doesn't matter whether there's one enemy or 1,000 enemies. Your PCs are just hacking and slashing.
Yeah.
And that's not entertaining in the slightest. That's literally just rolling dice against one another. And it can become very boring. If you don't have set outcomes for the PCs, if there isn't a set mission, however you want to disguise it, whether it is to get from one side of the battlefield to the other, deliver this message to the general, he must know that the ogres are attacking on the right flank. Now, suddenly, the combat that interposes between them and getting to the general now has a reason. It now has a purpose. So the more of that kind of stuff you can do, the better your mass combat will feel. If it's just a case of, you see 100,000 Klingon warriors arrayed on the battlefield in front of you, there's 100,000 of you, all right, roll initiative, okay, now we start fighting.
Yeah!
It's very boring.
Yeah, it's like
fucking Giga Chad. That's how you do it. Let me just roll 100,000 initiatives. Be right back.
Right, exactly. Enemy has a dragon, may be considered diplomacy. Yes. I'm done.
Yeah,
thank
done.
you. Unless we have a dragon, I think I surrender, sir.
Yeah. Dude, they have a fucking dragon. I want to join them.
Yeah,
cool.
Actually, you know what, sir? Stabs.
Yeah.
I'm on their side now.
Yeah, their dragon's fucking cool. Wait a minute, what color is it? Gold? Oh, fuck, we're the bad guys.
We're the baddies, eh? Guess I'm going to do my best to help them. Haha!
Yeah.
Whoops. I regret all of the choices in my life, I suppose, now, sir. Whoopsie. A dragon is with the army. Cornell, is that you? Exactly.
Yeah.
If it's a case of, all right, you see on the left-hand side of the battlefield, there are several siege tanks. Now, those siege tanks are going to be raining fire down on your army for as long as possible before they engage. Those siege tanks need to be taken out. Right, now the players have got an objective. Now they can get there. Now they can start having combat with the defenders of those siege equipment. And when they take the siege equipment out or are forced to retreat because they can't, well, now they can look over the battlefield and see that the battlefield is not going exactly as they had planned. If they're successful, the siege equipment is not taking out troops. They can see that the enemy has started to become loose around the right-hand side and that your troops seem to be taking advantage. On the other hand, if they have failed or if they've had to withdraw from destroying those siege engines, now suddenly they can see, oh, the siege engine has completely obliterated the entire third wing of the cavalry, and the cavalry is starting to crumble. They might need to get down there to help the cavalry just to store them up for a few moments. That's the second part, is you start to now link objectives together.
Yeah.
So as the players succeed in one or fail in one, it now should lead naturally to the next one.
Yeah, a dragon and siege tanks? I think I'm on Team Surrender, too. Yep.
Yeah, Jesus, man. What are these? Fucking cities of Sigmar and the Stormcast?
Yeah,
Eternals?
exactly. All right.
I'm leaving.
Yes,
we're still using cavalry.
Taps watch.
Yeah, it's Empire versus Bretonia, dude.
Yep. Taps wrist very rapidly. Yeah, it's looking about that time that I need to get the fuck out of here, actually. Sorry about that, General.
What a shame. I left something in the oven.
I gotta make sure that doesn't burn down my house.
Yeah.
Leaves the city. Dragon burns down the house. Yay!
Well, at least, at least the thing in the oven didn't do it. I mean, the dragon's out of my control.
Yeah, I gave up anyway. It's fine.
Yeah, what do you want?
It's all good.
And that's up to you how to link them. If the players have to fall back because they were unsuccessful in taking their objective, or if the players were successful, they now withdraw back to the general, who then says, well done on doing that. We've just received report, however, that Lady Catherine and her contingent are coming under some magical attack.
God damn it, I knew he was going to do that! He's got siege engines, dragons, and now mages. I'm really hoping he's like, okay, now you need to go deal with the rifle corps. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
The aliens are invading now.
Fuck, I gotta go. Why was I born?
And what fucking period of time are we in?
All
of them.
Is this Ancient Aliens fucking talk, man? Am I on the History Channel right now, man? I
hope. That would be hilarious to run a campaign where it's like cowboys and aliens.
Oh, dude, that would be great. Yeah,
it would be great,
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now I keep getting distracted.
That's fine.
By being funny or attempting to be funny. And there's something that I want to bring up.
Sure.
Where, God damn it.
Nuclear launch detected.
Yeah, right.
God.
Oh, shit.
I'm on a fucking...
looks at my sword. I was like, well, I guess I'll die then.
Guess I'm in StarCraft.
Yeah. So, oh, motherfucker. I'm a fucking idiot. The escape pod left without me. I forgot to get on.
Good job.
Anyway, yeah. So the battle where you're just kind of what is it? The battle where you're just doing a lot of fighting.
Yeah.
That can have you can do that.
Yes.
But there needs to be an overarching, like, single important objective.
Yeah, I think so.
The example that I think of when I am describing that, Helm's Deep. You can totally do the kind of fight where there's just a battle, where there's just a lot of fighting.
Yeah.
But you are defending, or you're running, or you have to reach this one thing.
Yeah.
And that can be very impactful, especially if you've built up the fight with NPCs that people like and stuff, because then you can have them die or survive, or like the players save them, things like that. It's doable. Don't let a guy fool you. That kind of fight can be done. You just need like that singular objective.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because like with that, it's like even the mini objectives here and there that you could put in would even be a part of it, right? It wouldn't be just the one objective. You would have things to go for that one objective. Really, it would be
that's
building blocks, right?
Mm-hmm. Kind of like setting up for the ride of the Rohirrim.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm thinking. Like the steps. If you look at Helm's Deep, in fact, the initial trying to shoot the guy with the bomb, and all the guys on the ladders and stuff, and then trying to make it so that you can get through the gate and get down the ramp and go into everybody in the middle, and then the Rohirrim come over the hill because Gandalf, way,
yeah, whoop.
You have all of these objectives that they would be going for, and then it ultimately culminates to them getting to that final one, in which that one is survive.
Yeah, last objective, survive.
Exactly. A certain number of turns, technically, right, quote unquote, in that instance, and then, oh, thank God, now the cinema comes in and we watch as everybody gets saved because the storm breaks. Ah,
Yay.
So yeah, you can do something like that for sure. And then like with just a regular old battle, just on the ground, instead of it being a defense kind of thing, it could be go for their general, right? Once you get to their general, then they'll break because fucking hell, you don't got a guy to lead you anymore. What are we gonna do?
Yes.
So then you have little battles between that you could get working your way through them to get to that general, hopefully, right?
Mm-hmm. And then that's where the minions will really come into play. Where maybe you have, I don't really know how you would want to do it, but I think you would want like a series of quick battles.
Yep.
And depending on, this is what you would need to figure out. I don't know, because you're obviously not trying to kill the player characters.
Right.
You would kind of need to figure out what would constitute a, quote, loss for them.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Because, you see what I'm saying. So, like, they
route.
win. Yes, exactly. If they win the fight, then they advance and get closer and closer and closer. But what counts as a loss where the enemy pushes them back and starts damaging the player's army and stuff? It's like, do they take a certain amount of damage, something like that.
Right.
Or how many turns it takes for them to win.
I think it would be,
that.
I think it would be a turn timer in a way, right? Like, if you can reach him in a number of turns, then it'll be fine. But if you don't get him to that in that amount of time, then whoa,
then bad.
We got to get out of here. Whoa.
We got to get out of here. It's that.
We got to go. Yep.
That would essentially become your objectives.
Exactly.
Unless you also want to have that and objectives, which could totally work as well.
Yeah. I think, honestly, the way that he's put it, of putting objectives in the way, or incorporating objectives into these kinds of things, is the best way to really conceptualize it, because anything can be an objective. It's just making it so that it's clear that this is an objective that will be a benefit to your side. And if you lose it, then it will be a detriment. That's what really drives it home. And then you can work from there. As he's saying, you link these things together and all that shit, right?
You just kind of need to, if you're designing this fight, that's what you're going to want to come up with.
Yes.
Just come up with the objectives and a basic idea of, if it's lost, this happens. If it's taken, this happens.
Yep. And those objectives can take so many different forms.
Just being obliterated, but I'm sure that you would be doing a great service if you were to go and save Lady Catherine from that magical attack. It could be something like that. It could be, we have discovered that there is a nebula directly next to the fleet that has engaged with the enemy.
And now we're in space as well.
Wait, a nebula has engaged with the enemy? Do you know what a nebula is?
I don't know. Maybe a nebula is something else. Maybe it's a nebula class starship. Okay?
Maybe.
Nebula, we fear, will contain enemy ships which may be trying to gain position on us.
The nebula has the ships in it. It's fine.
But the nebula is not what's attacking.
No, that's not what he's saying. He's saying the ships inside of the nebula are attacking.
Then why didn't he just say there are ships attacking?
Because he said that afterwards, because he's saying that they're hidden in the nebula, idiot. God.
But he said the nebula was attacking
Yeah,
first.
I know. Shut up. It's bad, okay? It's a slip of the tongue. I get it.
That's true. I know. Don't you do that to me, Mr. Can't turn his brain off.
I know. I'm just being the shit. Mass combat is something we're working on for the chapter 2. That is why it's taking a bit. Oh yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things in a mass combat. It'll matter when you zoom in on people and characters and what they're doing, right? That's really what's important, because when I was listening to the what is it, Battlegrounds or Battleground, it's the book for Dresden Files. In that, it's specifically war stuff, and there's a lot of times where he just goes on about the things that are happening around him that he's noticing, as well as what's happening to him personally and everything. And you're seeing these characters going into like these fights and either winning or getting hurt or dying straight up. And these are people that he's known for a long time or what. It's great. It's fantastic. It really keeps you engaged, because you're like, oh fuck. And then when somebody else comes in, because yeah, they were also here. That's true. Oh fuck. Thank God. You know, and then they start doing their shit. And then it's like, oh God, that's not enough. Fuck. You know, it raises that stake, because like that guy was real fucking powerful. What the fuck? It's great.
What you mean Piccolo isn't gonna be able to beat third form Frieza?
Yeah, hey, he kept him off for a little bit, but that was all that we needed for that one little thing. Thank God.
That was all we needed for Krillin to fuck up Vegeta.
Yup. Exactly. It's those little things, right? You just got to keep showing what characters are doing and the way that they are interacting with each other, either intentionally or unintentionally, because of what they're trying to do. It's good.
Yes.
Look, if we're fighting Nebula, it's time to call Pit. True.
Ah, goddamn it. Every time with you.
If you were to take a small contingent into that nebula, you might discover them. You don't necessarily need to engage them, just find out where they are, and then we will open up that nebula like a giant can of exploding cans of exploding cans.
Nice.
Whatever. So the idea is to engage the PCs, is to make them feel as if they're involved, but not just by killing stuff. Yes, every now and again throw in this massive melee where they come running around the corner and there's 20 of their men and there's 80 of the enemy. And so they either have to go around and leave those 20 men, or they charge in there and they start hacking them. Now, the idea is to keep it shifting. So sometimes there's combat, sometimes there's these kind of missions that maybe don't have any combat. The lack of combat can make the mass combat feel even bigger. Now, the reason for that is that they've had this massive combat, they've just defeated 20 of the opposition, and now they go on this mission where they actually are nowhere near the battlefield. But they're trying to rally support, or they're trying to do this, or they're trying to find that, or maybe they're just trying to hold a gate, and the enemy never comes anywhere near that gate. It's about creating a lull, that calm in the middle of the storm, the eye of the storm. It's about making the players realize that not everything during combat is violent. Having been part of several airsoft battles with significant number of people, the battles rage furiously, and then they sort of calm down as everyone takes stock of where they are.
Yeah.
And there's a moment of pause almost. And then there's another furious engagement. You've got to try and bring that into your mass combat to make it feel real. People can only fight for maybe 30 minutes, especially if it's a heavy, hectic, intense battle, and then it will slow down as both sides need to literally catch their breath.
Yeah, it's one of the most intensive things, combat, because you are in, like, your adrenaline is fucking pumping all the time, usually, because you're in that fight or flight response all the time, because you don't want to die.
Thinking about, let's see, when he said that,
yes.
First off, having experience with airsoft, that's wholly unexpected and a fantastic way to think, and kind of a good frame of mind to create mass combat from, and thinking about that
for sure.
The other thing that maybe more or maybe less people have experienced that is also combat, quote unquote, and is fucking exhausting. Laser tag.
Yes.
Laser tag is a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
It is fun as fuck,
Yeah.
but holy shit, you will die.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Because unlike airsoft battles that take place in like way bigger areas, and like Guy is describing, there are lulls in the fight.
Yeah.
Airsoft is way smaller and it never stops.
Laser tag. Yeah.
Like, holy fuck, your heart will explode out of your chest.
Yeah. It is it constant. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, you are constantly running around and hiding and
yeah, it's that constant physical activity plus the adrenaline because of, you know, and if we go into the actual war thing, you're in the most physically intense part of your life at that point. And again, fighting for your life. And it's going to be exhausting. It's going to make you feel tired as fuck. And having those little bits of, that's why, battles would take days, because they need to cycle people out as well. Because people will get tired. And they need to recover and rest. And also sometimes need to get attention from medical people, you know, to get back in there. Soldier,
they need to see a great holy man.
That's right. So really giving them that idea with that kind of thing of just like, and you know, as you get to this spot, it's, you can hear the battle in the distance, but it's so far away, and you realize that you're okay, and as you're walking through, you start to feel that fatigue. It's tiresome. And really, if you're using something like D&D at this point, you can give them exhaustion. Yeah. Which I feel like, it's detrimental, but at the same time, like, it's a great usage of it, because as they keep going, and as they keep going through these adrenaline bursts, they're going to keep getting tired, and more tired, and at some point, they will drop.
Yeah, they are just going to collapse.
It's just... because, you know, that much activity without, like, you can be really fit and be able to do shit for a while. I get that. But at the same time, the most physically intense thing that you can do is fight for your life. And if you're
an extended period of time.
Yes, exactly. If you're doing that it doesn't matter. Combat takes 6 seconds per turn for a D&D thing. But even so, if you go like 5 turns, and then you go into another one, and then you go into another one, and you're just, you're continuing to, like, be a part of that hectic atmosphere. You're never able to get a moment. You're just continuing to push through that, and it's fucking crazy, man.
It also doesn't help how much brain power you're using in each one of those things, because you gotta think, like, a lot of brain power is being expended here.
Yes.
So you might only be physically fighting for, you know, however many seconds, but your brain not being able to rest and calm down for even a split second, you're gonna collapse after. It's just gonna happen.
It's again, that's why that's why people are trained to be able to be a soldier, right? You need that training in order to push that limit. Because regular people and people who are not a part of that really training in general are just not equipped to handle it.
Yeah, you can probably, as a normal person, you could probably do 1 with adrenaline. And after even that, your stores are done.
And not to say like the mental toll that it will take, just in general, just being through that kind of situation. Like, it's bad. It's really bad. And again, even with the training, it's still bad for people.
It's still bad.
It's not
fighting bad.
Fighting bad. War bad. Battle bad.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. It's bad.
Unless it's Warhammer.
That's right. And then
in which case nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're literally bred for it, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
these people are bred for combat. It's fine.
Exactly.
Alejo 2024.
But yeah, so use those kinds of things, I think, of penalties. If things are going on for too long for a war, absolutely make it so that they need to either get the fuck out of there for a time or take exhaustion in D&D terms, or get the fuck out of there and take their penalty die or whatever. Like, it's just however you can do it to make it so that it is showing that it is a fucking toll to go through. Now, it is a slog. War is hell.
I think an issue that will arise in that instance is, what do they do in the meantime?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, in that case, I would suggest having them do, like, resting doesn't need to be just sleeping, right?
Yeah.
It can be low activity, at least.
Low intensity activity.
That's the word. Yes, intensity. So having them, instead of being on the front lines, having them help with making food for the troops, or, you know, moving, like, being the latrine cleaner. Like, I don't know, man.
Yes, this is where a lot of their other interpersal skills can finally come into play.
Yes, have them
or
talk
like
to
occupational
people.
skills, like you're saying, like cooking.
Exactly. Have them,
if they're a bard, they could use songs and try to raise morale.
Yep.
If they're a cook, they can cook. If they're a wizard or they're like arcane, they could tell stories.
Exactly. Make it so that it is itself a skill challenge in a way that might be beneficial to the war effort, right? Making it so that, you know, morale is up and people are getting fed and all that kind of stuff. Like food, people. What's the saying?
An army marches on its stomach.
Exactly. Thank you.
I didn't even. After I said it and you paused for a brief moment, I'm like, "Fuck, that was the wrong one."
No, that was it. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. So yeah, just it use the downtime mechanic in that way.
Yes.
And so that they can, like, have the time that they don't feel like they're not doing anything to help.
Because, once you get to that point of, like, okay, we're here for a mass combat, we did our combat, we're fucking exhausted, now we're just kind of sitting around, you definitely want to have something more meaty than just, oh, you rest.
Yes, I think so. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I keep seeing Cornell charging into a bunch of people on the battlefield and a bowling strike sound effect plays. Hell yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Now, do you have a bowling alley animation play?
Yes.
Love those.
Yeah, let's see. If you can't see into the nebula from outside, are you going to see any better from inside? Not necessarily.
Yeah, right? Maybe your sensors are blocked by the cloud.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you can actually physically see better inside of it.
Yeah. Did you, maybe they just thought it was a nebula, but it was actually a nanite swarm?
No, thank you.
If it's that big, fuck me, forever, we're dead.
Yeah, no, you're dead.
Dragons and giants
in space.
Yeah. Dragons and giants may be able to fight for days, but even they will need to slow down. Exactly. You're burning energy.
Actually Goku and Vegeta and all that.
Exactly. Like, you can push through to an extent, but if you do, you get the exhaustion, right? Like, it makes sense, at least. Or some sort of penalty, right?
Some sort of penalty, yes.
An army marches on its stomach, especially if it's army ants. True.
You need to bring that into your game. So
Back
your mass
up.
combat,
God.
some frantic mass combat, then some pause.
It's the spooky skeleton is taking his chair hostage, okay? It's hard.
Yeah, it's true.
I love it.
A side mission that involves finding a map or taking stock of something or making a map. Then more combat. Intense combat, then not so intense combat. Now that leads me to why the maths isn't important.
Okay.
Now every single monster, every single alien, every single entity that one can fight against has got statistics. And it's got lots of statistics, and all those statistics are designed to make the combat challenging for the characters and for the players. This is not, and I know this sounds contradictory, a mass combat is not about the combat. Because if you want to sit at your table and spend an hour just to run through one little combat,
right,
so that your players can go and find a map and then spend another hour on another piece of combat and then spend another hour on another piece of combat, that will just become very dull, and all it's going to feel like is that it's just this perpetual rolling of dice. Why are we doing this? This is not fun. So the monsters, the characters...
As opposed to doing the other objectives that make you roll dice. But I know what he means.
Yeah, rather than sitting in... Yeah.
Yeah, it's the lack of variety, because it is just combat slog rather than we are doing objectives, like different things.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That the players need to encounter need to fall quickly. Now, I'm not talking 1 hit point or 1 health point or 1 armor point type of creatures. Yeah. Yes, have those. Have those where the players charge into a group of 20 and their first attack drops the first one, their second attack drops the second one, their third attack misses, so they've got to attack that same one again. Make it feel epic. And then the next one they hit, he parries their blow and suddenly delivers back a huge amount of damage, because this is the sergeant, this is the captain, this is the master, this is one of the junior warriors that has some training. So there's a moment in that combat where it gets vicious. Or there's a monster that's brought in that makes the rest of the soldiers, who literally you're hitting once or twice to make them go down, now there's this big monster that punctuates that mass combat.
Yes.
Oh shit.
So again,
this guy hits on threes. He hits
Fuck.
and defends on threes. Fuck.
No.
Honestly, those guys seem broken in that game.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
They're really good.
Do we have Cloud Kill yet? I wish. That's a war crime. Yes, it is.
I think
the Geneva suggestion. Exactly.
Yes, I think you mean poison wind globadier.
Exactly. For example, Cornell is still in pain from the tournament, but he is still going into battle to help his kingdom, despite not being 100%, and he will have to deal with the aftermath. Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Making it feel like there's lots of combat going on, but not making the combat the focus of the story. Because combat is really, unless you like crunching numbers, just dice rolling. There's very little room in there for the players to actually really get into the story. So exactly as you've got to make the mass combat ebb and flow in terms of action, and then not action, action, and then inaction, you've got to make the combats easy, but then sometimes terrifying as well. And it's that will make it feel dramatic. Now, the other thing that's important, and this is the final idea in terms of mass combat, is the descriptions. You've got to talk about descriptions. Thousands of men are arrayed. You can see the terror in some of them. The youth are busy throwing up as this is their first battle. The veterans stand stoically, their faces grim and set as they run through their defensive katra and then their aggressive katra. Others are busy priming their weapons, making sure that their rifles are fully loaded and fully kitted. Here and there are little clusters of men speaking softly of sweethearts that they've left behind, or speaking softly to their sweethearts as they prepare to face this final
Men
battle.
talking about sweethearts?
The
I think you
idea
mean
is-
zombies. Walking corpses.
I've seen you before. You're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly.
To literally build up the scale, build up the experience by making it individual. It will feel as if it's a mass combat if whilst the PCs are busy fighting, there's a young NPC who comes to try and help them, but then he gets killed by some random attack, and then they move on and then there's a lieutenant that they have to help, or there's a king, or there's a infiltrator, or there's a this
Your
or
Highness,
that.
you should not
They're
be on the
building up
battlefield.
the
Yeah.
story of the mass combat. Whatever the outcome, if the PCs are constantly failing in those missions, or if they're ignoring those missions and they're just trying to engage in combat, they lose. Whether they're taken prisoner or whether they manage to escape out of a back route, it doesn't matter. They lose. And if they're succeeding at all of those missions, then it's up to you to still decide. And it needs to look as if everything that the PCs did has made a difference. It has made a difference. It really has impacted the way the battle is going. But the enemy is simply too great.
Yeah, I mean, so there is an aspect that you could do that is an overwhelming force, right? There's nothing wrong with that if you set it up so that as they're fighting, they just see that more and more are coming. Right, it's that descriptive. That's that descriptive element, right? Of getting into and showing that yes, you're doing everything right, you're holding the line, but it will falter at some point, right? Because there is still the hordes upon hordes that are coming over the hills or being dropped out of the sky or whatever you want at that point. And it's a valiant effort, but at the end of the day, somebody will sound a retreat, right?
Yes.
A tactical retreat.
At that point, it's if that's your intent, I think it's very important that the players know that beforehand, so that way, they can have, they know what they're getting into, and they know that even if they do lose, their objective is not to win. Their objective is something else.
Exactly. I think making it so that it is like you're trying to defend this city so that people can be evac, exactly, so that you're trying to make it so that they stay back as long as possible, so as many as possible can get out. Even if they fail and they die, they've at least gotten the people out, right? Like something like that, where you set it up from the beginning. This is the mission, everybody. We need to do this so that everyone, like, more than just us, will live, right? There's no way that we can actually beat them, but we can at least... Yes, exactly. We can at least deny them their claim.
What the fuck is the quote? I will not lie. The chances of your survival are small.
yeah.
Fucking guilt. Of course, the only reason why you're gonna die is because he's gonna fucking bombard you with his Hellstorm rocket batteries.
Yeah, but it's fine.
Friendly fire is a bitch.
For the greater good, it's fine.
He's not Tau.
Yeah. They don't have ownership of it. Come on.
Oh, I
know. But yeah, so
you said greater good in reference to anything involving Warhammer.
Exactly. So yeah, I think it's, if you're going to do that, as you said, set it up beforehand. You got to make sure that it's known. And at that point, it's even fine if the PCs go, yeah, we're not going to be a part of this.
Yeah, fair.
Because at that point, then it's like, well, okay, they leave, they hear about what happened. They hear that many people are probably dead. They only got, like, a certain amount of people out, not a lot. And then it's just like, yeah, okay. Sure.
Yeah, and then that's what happened. You have them be deserters and fugitives.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, it's also like, well, you have it so that you hear that the whole place got wiped out. And it's like, oh, well, would we have done anything to make a difference then? Or was it important that we could have done something to make a difference, Like,
yeah, was there even more than the advertised objective?
Exactly, right? Like,
maybe you have this situation where you're defending a city. And big armies coming, and it's the same thing where it's like, hey, we cannot win this. We are going to do the whole, we're going to try to defend as long as we can to get people out.
Yeah.
Then later on, it turns out that after the defense, no one really knew why they were attacking.
Yeah.
And you learned that there was like some sort of an artifact that they were after, or some, like, the king or some ruler was after. And if they left, you'll hear later on, it's like, oh, the city got destroyed and something else is missing. They weren't able to evac. They were not able to secure the blank.
Yeah.
And then maybe now there's this whole new thing where, oh, you failed to protect the city, but now you can possibly kind of not really redeem yourself if you're able to secure the artifact that will spell the doom of even more people if the enemy has it.
Yeah. That could also be a way. Absolutely. There's so many possibilities that you can do because of these kinds of things, for sure.
This has been, by the way, a fantastic,
topic
episode.
Yeah.
Yes, this has been great.
Yeah, I really was thinking about it a lot, because it's like war and big battles and all this kind of stuff can really lead you to so much opportunity for storytelling.
It's very good.
Yeah, because even if the thing, like, win or lose, everything changes. Everything. It doesn't matter, except for the war. But everything else will change, and you will then see, like, refugees potentially that now need to be moved en masse to another place, and then overpopulation of a city potentially, or the resources are then dwindling because of the losses of these strategic places. You see the economy potentially going down or going up or whatever, really.
Oh man, the economy was all fixed now that everybody died in the war. Man, is that all we needed?
Well, hey, you never know, right? Like it's
I know it's funny.
It's a thing, right?
Yeah.
But
By the way,
yeah.
This is my fucking frame right now. It
Okay.
just makes me think of the slacking.
Yeah, I've got the same thing basically. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but yes, so but yeah, so you have that. You have then veterans of it who then go on to potentially become mercenaries there, or they go on to be hired by the other side, or they continue fighting for this kingdom, or you have these people who leave, who become deserters, who are hunted down by the kingdom or recruited to the other side, or just you have the possibility to go in so many different directions because of it. And then you have the innovation that comes of it, right? Because every war brings innovation, because they are trying to build something to end the war quickly. That's always the way that it happens.
it sucks.
It does, but it's what happens. So
many pesticides that we still use today
Yep.
use an ingredient that was invented by the Nazis in World War II in order to starve out invading armies.
exactly. The like we've got fucking the Autobahn was made. Not the Autobahn. Yeah, that right? The Autobahn,
The road?
yeah, the actual like highway thing, right? That was made during World War II, I think, right? Because I think that
I
was
didn't know that.
because the economy was so. I might be wrong about that. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
But yes, so that kind of stuff will happen potentially, like the construction of these cities, the spread of the culture of the
Yes.
occupying force. Like it's just the world will change. It just will. And
I would
for better or worse. It's very interesting.
I would love to see a campaign start off with this war type thing. And it is set up where there is, you set it up so that the players can either win or lose. And we'll start with if they lose.
Sure.
So they make characters and you have them make like fighters. So, fighters or maybe a wizard. Maybe
Sure.
like they can only do certain classes because this is specifically for like a battle. Then, if they lose, they then make a new set of characters who are rogues in an occupied city.
Okay.
And then they have to, and you're doing like resistance type shit.
Yep, you could. Yeah.
And then after that, you might do even more where they are now like scholars and wizards and shit, and they're doing like political shit.
Yeah.
That would be really interesting.
Yeah, it would be really cool, for sure.
And then maybe you have like a JoJo style thing where all the characters they've made meet up and do like one last operation and shit.
Yeah. That'd be
That
cool.
would be so cool.
That would be really cool. Yeah. There's no army that can't be beaten, but you have to get creative sometimes. True. Hold the city long enough to get flammable stuff into all the buildings. Then when the army comes in, whoosh. True.
I mean, you could.
You could.
Firebomb an entire city that like you get everybody out and then you just ignite the whole city when the army comes in.
For sure.
That's one hell of a way to do it.
You guys got me
costly, but it might be worth it.
Yeah. You guys got me thinking that not enough stories treat big bad evil guys as a war that changes the world around them. Defeating the big bad evil guy shouldn't just end with life returning to normal. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Because
it would depend on how the big bad evil guy actually functions.
Yeah, but most of the time the big bad evil guy is, I mean, if we're going by traditional standards, most of the time the big bad evil guy does a big change to the world a lot of the time. Right.
True.
In which case,
For example, if it's like a dragon, absolutely, because
Sure.
his territory will return to normal. But if it actually is like a wizard who is trying to do something and then they stop them, there are some things that might not ever even notice.
right? Well, so it could be subtle, right?
Yeah, that too.
Like it really depends, right? Because if it's a big world-ending plot, if they even get some success, something will change because of that, right? Somebody will have had something happen to them and then go, fuck, man, we got to make sure that doesn't happen again. Then they start this rally for change so that this doesn't happen again. Whether that be stricter laws of magic or a more inquisitive type of force that roots out magic.
Inquisitive?
Yes, indeed.
No, nobody expects that.
No, that's true. But legitimately, like, something that is extreme could happen, right? Something more social change instead, something that is more of the governmental change. Anything could really happen because of that. And then, obviously, the people who stop it, they will then be held in different standing because... regard as well, because they did it. They stopped it. And people will learn about that, probably.
Unless you don't.
Unless you don't tell anybody, I guess.
So you could do that, or you could be an absolute Giga Chad and have your main character not get the girl, lose his superpowers, and go work at fucking McDonald's.
That's right. You could do that too.
Fuck you.
That's right.
God.
Well, that's the other way to do it as well. Like it's, but something will
like
change.
a fucking idiot.
Yeah, I know.
Ugh. Sorry.
Something you're good. Something will change, of course, and I think that it's nice to see when that happens, and you can, if you're in the same campaign world, few years later and such, or however long you want later, you can have these remnants of that have affected everything, right? You can see the changes that have happened because of it. It really is just something that needs to be taken into account, I think, because again, even the smallest victories of your big bad evil guy could potentially change a lot.
Yes, they could.
Anyway,
that is a very good point, though, to think of the big bad evil guy as effectively, as changing the as
a force of change, really.
Yes, there we go. Yes, as a powerful force of change, just like a war. I hadn't really ever actually considered that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, hell, even in Devils and Dice, that effectively just didn't happen. Because things are kind of going to just go back to normal. In hell, at least.
Exactly.
There is shit that is going to happen.
I was going to say, because, like, even so, they would have to get their supply back of the dark iron, and they have to make sure that nobody talks about this.
Yeah, that is true.
So that nobody knows, really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Asmodeus and fucking Mephistopheles know.
Yeah, I know.
But, I mean, they're all brothers. So.
Exactly. But even so, like, somebody else could find out and then say, oh, you're at a point that's kind of low, actually.
Yeah.
Because
maybe I could, I'm just gonna fucking...
Let me just do a little invasion right here, Yeah. Because, like, again, anything could really come because of it, because a lot of shit was spent because of what happened with Kozayamu. And a lot of force, or a lot of change was implemented onto Dis itself, and because
Very
of him.
true.
So,
yeah,
it's really just where you want to go with it. But you, again, like I was saying, they're a force of change regardless, because they want something to happen, and they want to make it happen. And however that happens, and whatever effect it has, whatever happens, whatever effect it has will affect other things.
The guy is still staring at me with that fucking expression.
We'll move on in a second, but yeah, I think it's just remember that, like, you as players as well are a force of change. It just everybody is that force. It just depends on how well you're able to use your abilities to be that change.
and how impactful the change you can bring about actually is.
Yes. Hell, in Vampire, all these guys could do something, and really change shit up. There's some stuff that's going on that is enacting some changes that is happening right now.
I'm sad we didn't get to play.
Yeah, it's all right. I now have more time for more things to make. So, but yeah, so it could be big, it could be small. It really just depends on where it plays out and how much it actually does play out. That's really just what each of these things really are. It's a story about change a lot of the time. Even in the most simple stories, things change.
The next time we play D&D,
yeah,
if I'm not running it, because I know what I'm going to run if we play D&D again, or just a fantasy RPG, I know I would love to have a campaign where we play, at least for a time, as shopkeepers and merchants.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
that
absolutely.
Would be so fun. It'd be so
great.
Chill. I'll just get, like, Stardew Valley music going on.
Yeah.
That'd
for sure.
Great.
That would be really good. Oh, excuse me. Spend a city to eliminate an army. War is a business for diabolical minds. Yes. Need to get back to raiding that Dragon Toe and setting sometime. Yeah, go for it. Whenever you get the chance.
The enemy is too overwhelming. It forces the PCs...
Oh, play as merchants during a war? Yeah, dude.
So, like, arms dealers.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Oh.
Yeah, it's fucked.
Yeah.
It's great.
Play both sides against the middle. Love that.
You could, yeah.
To withdraw. Now, what I do in those kind of situations is so that the PCs don't feel as if the GM has just spited them. Even though they did all this cool stuff, the GM has still sat back and gone, you still fail. You all fail. You're all useless. You don't want that. You don't want your players to feel as if everything that they've done is for nothing. Yet,
I would totally do
that. Here keeps saying that it's entirely up to you as to the outcome of the battle. So what you do is you start to introduce NPC villains. These are little sub-villains. They're not major villains. Villains that the PCs can take on and can attack throughout the combat. So at the very beginning, they see this noble individual riding on top of the tank. And he seems to see them, even though it's a mile across the battlefield. And he raises his saber and points it directly at the PCs.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, let's just say that he's, like, coming to them. Like, they are in the way of his advance. Like, that. Yeah, we don't need to say that he's a mile away. Like, he can be a mile away ahead of them, I guess. That's fine. You know, but he's not pointing at them. He's pointing at the fucking group that they're a part of. And
yeah, come on. He's pointing at their unit or their battalion.
Here. Like I get what you're trying to do here, but come on. Let's have a second and let's just at least put it in the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
That he's challenging you. So those are moments that you set up, and you make damn sure, because it's a seed, you make sure that that grows and that they come across that NPC several times. They can succeed against him, but he escapes. They can fail against him, but he escapes. But if...
I think this is the same guy that had the bandit camp 1,000 feet away from the road. This guy has no sense of scale.
Yeah. Like, what the fuck, man?
Exactly, yeah. Merchants of Death. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, man. But yeah, it's just, again, I get what he's trying to do. He's trying to make it a personal thing. But you can still have that happen even without them seeing him, or at least him seeing them ever. It's just them doing these objectives and the word being spread that it's them doing it, right? They can hear it over comms somehow, right?
Yes.
Or messengers or something, like, or it's intercepted.
They overhear it through a sending stone.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
something.
Got their little cell phones.
That's right.
Whatever. In D&D, we can't not have a cell phone.
Exactly. But yeah, legitimately, however it is, they just keep succeeding at these missions, and the description goes out, of them, and that's how it gets to this general who's on top of the tank or whatever,
Got an APB out on a group of fuckwads.
Group of fucking assholes. They keep going to these things and fucking us up.
They keep blowing up our fuel depots. Please shoot them on sight. Thank
exactly.
you.
Exactly.
10-4, good buddy.
So that's how you can do it, so that it's they're being put up on this pedestal to be shot down by the other side. And then once they encounter this general on top of the tank, he can point at them and have his as he's fighting them in the tank, you can hear him through it going, "Ah, I knew I would get to you someday." Like, make it personal in that respect. "You've been fucking with our army for days now. I'll be glad to see you blown to smithereens."
What?
Yeah, exactly.
Can't hear you. It's kind of loud out here. Huh?
God
It's a fucking battle.
No, you can. No, you can hear me. I'm saying that I'm going to kill you. What?
Did you say Jill? No, I don't know anybody named Jill.
Fire the cannon.
Well, that was, and then the cannon shell goes past. Like, whoa, that was fucking rude.
That was fucking rude.
Let's kill him.
Exactly. Throws a fucking Molotov onto the tank. Fuck you,
Dies
man.
instantly.
But yeah, so anything like that, so that you can make it still that that personal thing, because you're enraging the higher ups that they are working towards, right?
Yes.
Anyway.
Why does everything have to become a bit?
Because you can find the funny part of anything, really.
Yeah.
I guess a high magic
we should be
fantasy.
more professional. No more funny. No more laughing.
Right.
Fuck you.
I wouldn't call that professional. I would just call that serious.
Boring.
And boring, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess a high magic fantasy army could have mages entirely dedicated to maintaining a communication network with the message spell. Yes. Yes,
absolutely. Astropaths.
Basically. Vox communication. Communication systems are important. Yeah, exactly. The way that orders are given across the battlefield is something that you should also take into account, because if that can be intercepted, that's even better, right?
Yep.
Figuring out a way to intercept enemy communications is fucking massive.
Yes, it is.
So,
hello, Enigma machine.
Exactly.
Which, there's actually a number file video on the Enigma machine. It's super fucking interesting.
I bet.
I want to say an army Enigma machine was capable of having, so like, how basically a cipher sets up a series of, you know how cipher is.
Yeah.
I want to say a military grade Enigma machine was capable of having well over 300 billion different combinations.
Phew. Wow.
Yeah, it was fucking insane. It's either 300 billion or 300 million.
Either way, that's astronomical.
Either way, that's fucking insane.
That's great. Wow.
Yeah.
Even an eternal straight man just calls for others to play off them. Yes, true.
Yeah, it's very true.
His army triumphs in the end. The final battle before the retreat is sounded must be the PCs defeating that minor NPC, defeating that villain, so that they get a sense of accomplishment, that they thwarted it. Even though they lost the battle, they won this little skirmish. They won this personal vendetta against this NPC that has been goading them throughout the
if they win.
Entire situation. So that then when they retreat, there is a sense of victory. Now, what you also do is that you give them a bigger NPC, someone that they can't get to because they're too well protected, preferably, or that they're just never around, or that they're there in whispers only. You give them the bigger enemy, the enemy who launched this attack. And that, by causing them to then have to withdraw from the battle, retreat from the battleground, that then becomes the focus of the rest of their adventure.
Sure.
And it gives them something to hate and to look against, rather than to rally against the GM who just made an arbitrary call.
I don't think they would, but
yeah, that's the thing. You're assuming that people are prone to an irrational response.
Yeah, like,
Because
man, he must have like some kind of frustrating players to deal with.
he must have had, yeah. I don't
Or
know.
Must have had.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's that stigma that's been around for a long time of the players versus GM that just keeps rearing its ugly head every now and then because people seem to think that it's still really prevalent.
Yeah,
I guess.
I don't think it really is anymore.
I don't know. I mean, this was a while ago, but even so, I don't know.
Yeah, because I think we're like, I mean, obviously we've talked about this like a billion times, but I think we're so far past that now that it's just not really a concern anymore.
Yeah,
And the ones, like, if it happens, it's really a problem player and not the norm.
Yeah, exactly. And most people that we know of who do give advice these days have been against that. You know, they don't give advice that promotes it necessarily. So I really think that it's probably it will still be around because there's still going to be problems here and there, but I don't think it's going to be ever a big problem for a lot of people.
I don't think so either.
Which is good. And I'm glad.
It's just kind of weird that people still keep bringing it up.
I guess it's better to keep enforcing that it's a bad thing rather than completely forget that it exists.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Those who forget the past are doomed to repeat it.
Exactly.
Or, I forget the term.
I think that's at least accurate
It's close.
enough. Yeah. No more comedy. That which is not compulsory is forbidden.
Yeah. Those who forget the sins of the past are doomed to repeat them.
There it is. Yes. There's no joking in this army. True. I sympathize with Guy on this, but I haven't GM'd in like 7 years at this point. Well, there you go. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where, again, I will say that we've been very lucky, us having our friend group be the way that it is, and not being a problem ever, really. And so we're at least lucky in that respect to not have to deal with anything like that, and so we're blind to those problems, at least in our personal games. So, but I understand that that's not the grand majority.
Literally can't relate. Cannot relate.
Right, exactly. But yeah, no, I'm glad that it's a thing. It's not a thing that we have to encounter, but I understand that's not everybody's experience. But even so, I hope that not everybody has to deal with that at least a lot, if ever. Anyway. Probably should come up with a communication system, shouldn't I? Oh yeah, just do magic. You'll be fine.
Yeah, just do magic.
Yeah, just do magic. Just go, I point at that guy and I send a message.
Either that, or if you want to be slightly more I'll just say it. You want to be slightly more based, slightly less cringe. You could do, if you have it in your world, I don't know if you do, and if you don't, you're cringe. Have a kind of like steampunk walkie-talkie type deal.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You can make it powered off of some sort of gems or something, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like some kind of like
magic.
Actually, that too. Something you could do, maybe in your world there are like little, you remember in Eden how you have those like red crystals that are hot?
Yeah.
Make a hot crystal.
Yeah.
Or you could just have, if you don't want to have those naturally, you could have it be like wizards can enchant them.
Yeah. Make a quote unquote battery. Basically.
Yeah, make a battery. And then maybe the devices are like linked together somehow, like maybe magically, and it causes when you talk into it, it causes vibrations, and then those vibrations are,
transmitted and make the walkie-talkie, basically.
Yeah, make a walkie-talkie. Make a fantasy walkie-talkie.
Exactly. Parents will need to warn their children that if they don't stop joking about things, they'll be replaced by AI. True.
AI's not funny.
Sigil spell is great for if-then statements. Oh,
yes,
yeah, there you
that
go.
too.
Yeah. What a bright future we have.
Yes.
want to add numbers, you can. And it's a modifier that you can come up with. Well, the NPCs succeeded, right, they get +1 on their roll, or the enemy gets -1 on their roll. Whoever rolls higher between the good side and the bad side, or the neutral and the neutral side, whatever you want to call them, whoever rolls higher succeeds and 10% of their numbers are dropped. If you really want numbers, that's, for me, the simplest way of doing it, is using the PC successes to determine the rolls. And sometimes the outcomes don't have the exact roll that you want. But again, it's about making sure that the PCs feel that they have succeeded, even though they have lost the battle, they have succeeded somewhere along the line, and that the war is far from over, and that there are options for them to gain victories during that oncoming future war. Those are my thoughts on how to make mass combat that much more interesting, that much more engaging, and that much more fun for the players to participate in, and for you as the GM to run, rather than just trying to crunch numbers and calculate a statistical outcome. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You can join us on Patreon for more discussions along these lines. We've got
These were both very good.
And of course, the Patreon
really cause you to think.
videos every week as well, which go generally deeper into the topics that are covered by these videos. Either way, whatever your choice, I wish you and yours the happiest of gaming.
Thanks.
That was very, very good.
Loud.
Quite happy with those videos.
Yeah.
Both of them, honestly.
Yeah. You know, a few things here and there, but he got to points where he basically talked about what we talked about, so I'm good with it.
Yeah.
I'm good with it.
I think my only complaint with it is the fact that the war videos specifically only focused on like real world style conflicts and didn't touch at all on fantasy conflicts or space conflicts.
War as a setting I thought would be more broad. But I guess
not like
utilizing
war as a setting, but only World War I and II.
Yeah, utilizing the real world is good for drawing inspiration for sure, because you can utilize actual stuff, of course.
Yes.
But yeah, I more examples, I guess, would be better, I think.
Yeah.
More
examples and more settings.
Yes. War is constantly evolving.
It is. I mean, hell, only a few years ago was the first drone attack.
True.
Like, sea drone attack.
Yeah. I do have a mirror/crystal ball magic system that Cornell used to talk to Renee, but the steampunk thing sounds cool too. Yeah. Do whatever
maybe you can have, if you're going to have a war, maybe the other civilization uses steampunk shit.
Could, yeah. Very good.
I'm just a big fan of steampunk technology. I have a whole town in my setting called Automatown. And it's a steampunk town.
Steampunk is sick.
It's fucking sick, dude. I love steampunk. Magic and steampunk. Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So good.
Well, that's the videos tonight, everybody. We did it. Okay.
A whole fuck ton of yapping from us.
That's true. Okay, guys, we're going to play a game with the Galactic War, but for this session, you're going to play the side characters going to a casino to learn that no one cares about it. Oh,
hell
God. Fucking don't reference that. Fucking
Wait,
shit.
What is that a reference?
It's in The Last Jedi. There's a literal side plot that means nothing to show greedy people on a planet that are just being mean to animals and people.
That?
Yeah,
I
know.
remember hearing about that. What the?
There's no reason for it. It shows that some people are bad. Oh my God.
No
Wowie.
shit.
And you know what capitalism is? That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's not even capitalism. It's just greed. That's all it is.
Capitalism.
Well, not inherent, but you know. War is what we used to have. Now we have advanced war. True!
You're looking at advanced warfare with our new dog model.
Yeah. If you want to win a war, have a muscle-bound were-tiger on your side. Yes.
Also, I'm sorry, bridge. There.
Bridge.
Bridge.
You start out on that planet in Star Wars Outlaws. I don't even know. I haven't looked into that at all, and all I heard was it's bad, so...
Yeah,
I don't care.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Until it's like $10. Then you can if you want.
I don't give a fuck about it.
Yeah.
It means nothing to me.
Dude, have you heard that? Dude, actually, Ubisoft shut down a whole other game of theirs.
Oh no, what is it?
Yeah, they shut down X Defiant.
Oh, wait. Yeah, okay. I think I know that.
Yeah. It's the one. Honestly, that one's pretty fucking sad because that had a cool premise where it's kind of a hero shooter, but it's more faction based rather than actual heroes, and it's characters from all the Ubisoft like Tom Clancy shit. So you had Splinter Cell characters, you had Rainbow Six characters, you had Ghost Recon characters.
That would have been neat.
It was neat. You could play as Sam Fisher.
Oh.
And he was running around like he was fucking 20.
Oh, wow. There you go.
Yeah.
I like Star Trek better than Star Wars. Me too.
That's fair.
I would try it for $10, but that would require giving money to Ubisoft, so no.
Yeah, don't worry. Give them another year or so, and you'll be giving your money to Tencent.
Yeah, that's right. Which is worse.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're gonna move on to comment times.
Yep.
Now, before you go, if you wish, there is a comment for you specifically.
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll read it
Then I'm
first.
going to go ahead and leave.
Oh, okay, yeah. Rico says on last week's episode, specifically because you. Okay, Boo. If you feel left out that people aren't casually racist to you, and you're 5% German, where's my granddad's bicycle? I'm guessing this is going to be too obscure a World War II joke.
Oh my god. Is that a fucking what is it? The Great Escape fucking reference?
I don't know.
If that's the Great Escape reference, well done.
There you go.
Very based. That's fucking hilarious.
There you go. That is the only one that's specifically for you. If you wish to depart, you may.
Yeah, I think I will.
Okay.
And I will also invite more casual racism. I love it. So, like Rico said, I'm like 5% German, like maybe 3 or 4% French, and I want to say maybe 10 or 20% English / British. So
there's also
have
the
at
Italian
me.
in there.
Yeah, but nobody ever calls me a greasy wop except myself.
Well,
so,
there you go.
You know.
All right, get out of here, you
But
Goomba.
yeah, you can also, that reminds me of when me and Aiden were playing through Remnant 2 for the first time.
Oh, okay.
You remember those like little rolling ball guys that would
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
fight you on Yesha?
Yeah.
We kept calling them meatballs.
No, no.
And so I think Aiden
That's
was
pretty
calling
good.
me like Mario and shit.
Yeah. Fair
It was
enough.
pretty great.
Nice.
Yeah, all right, but yeah, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and go.
Okay.
Very, very good podcast.
Yeah.
Although, actually, I wanted to ask.
Oh, yeah.
I'm off the next 4 days.
Oh, shit. Okay. We'll have to do something.
Or,
then.
wait, no, it's 3. I'm sorry.
Okay.
3. Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Then I'm off Thursday.
Okay.
Would you like to do anything on any of those days? We could do more Hedon. You could start Blood Right, or I could continue with Pokemon.
Yeah, we can figure out something.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Probably not tomorrow, but maybe on Monday.
Okay.
At the earliest.
Well, then you just let me know.
Yeah, I will.
Well, like I was saying, great podcast. This one was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Got me thinking about a lot of wars and Nazi atrocities,
That's
which
right.
is always a good time.
Keeps
I only
keeps
usually
you humble.
get to think about those when I'm playing Payday.
Oh,
And so this one's a bit special.
That's right.
Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna go.
All right.
Bye.
See ya.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody. It's just me now. I'm going to move over here. There we go, so I can light up. We're good. Oh, I didn't read that. Oh, I don't know, Boo. You look like 100% seafood to me. Oh, that's good. There you go. Treks are usually more pleasant than wars. That is true. Who makes fun of a space demon that can kick your ass? That's also true. All right. I'll read the other comment in a second. Here, Rico. Here we go. Okay. This is the other comment. Dude, the Hollow Eye girls played Payday 2, War Crime Abound. Oh my god. Oh my god, that's the greatest thing you've ever said to me. I need to go find this. I'm gonna go search that later tonight. Anyway. That's exciting. Anyway. Rico says, as well, anyway, on the actual videos, I do appreciate the section in the first video on not using auto-detection mechanics, and instead using traps sparingly and making sure to leave hints in any description. In the little amount of DMing prepping I've done, I've always avoided traps because I felt like they were either cheap gotchas, irrelevant because detection was automatic, or would just slow down the game because of constant trap checking rolls, and now I really want to get back to prepping and integrating traps well. Spoilers, I won't because the plastic crack continues to call me. Fair. Didn't have much this week. That's alright. No worries. But yeah, honestly, thinking about traps in the way that we have now, I'm more likely to utilize them if I remember to. But for something like... Actually, I do have some ideas for Vampire, actually, using traps in Vampire, that maybe you'll see in future Vampire sessions when they come out. And by the way, for those of you who are part of the Table Flippers, I'm going to be uploading session 4 tomorrow for early access, so please be excited. Anyway. Timothy says, hello, bros. Hello. Still working on lore. This was a great show, as always. See everyone at the next show. Have a nice day. Thank you very much. Okay. That last comment we posted was written a while back, and the well still might be dry for a while after this. That's okay. Alright. We lost a lot of free time we had. That's fair. So Shin posts, probably should have posted this before the world ended, but here's the last campaign thing that got written. Well, the world is over, so thank you for at least posting these. So, here we go. My throat is dying. I should have had more tea with honey. I'll be okay. Starting session 9 now, said Verity. I'm still playing Sarika, excuse me. Yeah, the Elven Sorceress / Cleric, and now Rogue. Ooh, triple classing. Chara is playing Shauna the Halfling, Barbarian, and Entropy the Human Lover is playing Tara, the Human Fighter. Oh, come on, Verity. Only 90% of humans suck, Entropy objected. That's right in line with everything else. Maybe 100% of them are freaks, Verity countered. I've seen their internet. Hey guys, Chara interjected. D&D. Right, Verity said. So, last time, we finished our first side quest and didn't die. Now that we're back in Colnaford, we have gained a new contact in Alvaro, Neiros, a local merchant whose son we heroically rescued from bandits. And very heroically, Entropy reiterated. No endangering of a civilian or natural wildlife at all, added Chara. It wasn't scuffed in any way whatsoever, Verity confirmed. And now it's time for downtime. Excuse me. Yay, said Chara. So what are we doing with that? For one thing, I think Verity should tell us how Sarika gained that rogue level, Entropy said, especially since she's lawful neutral. It plays into the fact that rogues are called rogues and not thieves, Verity began, and classes don't exist in-world, it's just a set of skills. Okay, so how did Sarika pick up that set of skills? Entropy asked. She's part of the religious order of Wytheville, Verity said, so you know about the Bene Gesserit in Dune, right? I know about it, Entropy said, but maybe you should tell Chara. Okay, Chara, listen, said Verity. I know about... The Bene Gesserit is an all-female religious order in Dune that works behind the scenes, pulling political strings and influencing the development of societies through subtle manipulation, explained Verity. That's the important part right now, anyway. I feel like there could be something like that associated in the Jossidan faith. It really fits the vibe, I think. Jossidan? Chara asked. The followers of Joss, said Verity. I feel like I've said that before. Come on, Chara, pay attention, Entropy chided. Do the Jossidans have something like that? Chara asked. I said they do, so they do, said Verity. Anyway, Sarika's existing ranks and skill focus in Bluff reflect the fact that she had begun her training in those skills as an acolyte, and now she's ready to complete that training. Since there's a Weejoss temple in Colnaford, she can go there for that. She's not just walking in and asking about their super secret spy training, is she? No, there's a coded message she'll use, like a password. Plus, Weejoss is real, so, hey, Weejoss, can you tell your temple that Sarika's with you? That seems a little forward, said Entropy. Please? Viridia added. Did that work? Chara asked. Of course it worked. Don't worry about it. Cool. What else are we doing? We need to commission any new equipment we want at the beginning of the month, so it'll be ready by the end. Ooh, good call. Okay then, Shauna will be getting a breastplate and heavy steel shield. She will sell her hand axe and scale mail, and I also want to consider some hirelings. Okay, that's an idea. We'll figure that out in a minute. I'm going to switch Terra to chainmail, and I'm also interested in some hirelings, Entropy declared. While we're at it, we should acquire a couple more mules and pack saddles, just so we can each have our own. Since we split the cost of the first one, we need to split the cost of these two so it evens out. So that's 26 crowns total cost, which comes to 8 crowns each, and Rochambeau decides Terra and Shauna pay the 2 remainder. We can just split the existing feed we have between us, which gives us 3 days each, then buy 7 more each for 3 jacks and 5 stapes to get us up to 10. That means 3 silver and 5 copper for anyone just tuning in. Viridia noted. Thank you. Need to watch more VTubers again. It's so much fun. Yeah, I watch a lot of highlights, and when people have translations, like full translations of things, I like to watch those too. That's how I watched a lot of things. It's been great. It's been a good time. Anyway. Next up we have here. Excuse me. Okay, let's keep moving. Chara said. What next? Upkeep, said Viridia. There's a variant rule for that in the 3.5 DMG on page 130. Thank you. You choose what lifestyle you want to engage in, and you pay a particular amount for that month. They go from self-sufficient to meager, poor, common, good, and extravagant. Is that why we're blocking off a full month for our downtime? Asked Entropy. Basically, said Viridia. But it's also a reasonably long stretch of time where we could get everything done that we want to do between quests. We can choose whatever lifestyle we want as long as we can afford it, but I feel like we should at least go common. That is such a waste of money, Chara complained. Here we go, Viridia groaned. Being self-sufficient is only 2 crowns, said Chara. That is 43 crowns cheaper than common. We could pass 22 months at the self-sufficient level for the same cost as 1 month at common. Chara, I told you before we are not sleeping in the woods, Viridia protested, voice rising in annoyance. It's not a secure area. Do you want to roll 720 random encounter checks? We don't have any family ties that would let us shelter here in town for free either, so honestly I don't consider that level an option. And no, we're not going to live on the streets and beg either when we have 1,000 crowns to work with, so you can forget about meager too. If you really must keep that white-knuckled grip on your coins, poor is the lowest standard that makes any sense. I think we should go extravagant, suggested Entropy. Extravagant? Viridia asked. For 200 crowns? Well, that is a bit pricey. Actually, that makes sense to me, said Chara. Living extravagantly can mean that we are hobnobbing with the elites and throwing money around to make ourselves known. So you want to pinch 43 crowns, but you're willing to toss out 155 extra just to chase some clout. If it's an investment, it is different. This opens doors. This is how you turn money into more money. Ugh, that feels scummy. Viridia, you have created a world where mortals are exposed to constant danger, and the only semblance of safety comes from power. You cannot hold them in contempt for doing what it takes to climb the social ladder, if that means their survival. Yes, I can. I totally can. I'm doing it right now. Fine, but you know what Shauna and Terra's alignments are. Okay, whatever, Chara. If we're doing that, we'll need to pick up a set of courtier's outfits and the jewelry to go with it, which comes up to another 80 crowns total. I picture it all flashy and colorful, with the feathered hats and the poofy sleeves, like the Landsnecht outfit? I don't know how to pronounce that. Let's find out. Hey, everybody. Let's find out how to pronounce a word together. Here we go. Where? Okay, just wouldn't open for a second. Pronounce.
The CMS.
Okay, I don't care about your... Okay, why did you do... What? Can I just go to YouTube, please? Thank you. Why did you do that? That was really annoying.
You are looking at Julian's pronunciation guide, where we look at
Okay, I just want to...
name pronunciation from German. Landsknecht.
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 Okay, yeah, there you go. That's Julian Mikkel, for anybody who wants to know. The first video that I found when I put in Landsknecht pronunciation, I've already forgotten. Alright, here we go. That's up to you, Entropy. I like that, said Chara. I'll take one of those too. Sure, Chara, I've already acknowledged. Moving on, let's talk about hirelings. Pronunciation ASMR. Just a sudden little thing. True, Verdi was the one that made the woods dangerous in the first place. That is true. Should have put it up on the screen. You know what? I will. Hang on. There it is. This is the video that I looked at. I should do that so that everybody can see it. There you go. That's the video from Julian Mikkel. Right there. That's how to pronounce Landsknecht. I think.
From German. Landsknecht.
Landsknecht. I'm sorry. I will not remember. It's not something I'm gonna remember. I'm sorry. Anyway. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, moving on, let's talk about hirelings. The PHB says untrained hirelings are paid 1 silver per day, and trained hirelings are paid 3 silver pieces per day. The PHB can go stick its face in a fire pit. I just spent half a week coming up with more complete rules for that, and it turns out specific prices for hirelings are already listed on page 105 of the 3.5 DMG. That is true. Wow, that sucks, Verdi, said Chara, but at least you have a rule set of your own that you can show off. No, I'd immediately deleted it, said Verdi. Ah. It is a German word, so yeah, I know. That was a brilliant thing to do, Verdi, said Chara. We're very proud of you for that, said Entropy. Zip it, said Verdi. I do want to add that you have to make your sure your hirelings can actually live, so you will have to provide them with supplies if you take them out of town and provide an additional 12 crowns for upkeep any month you make them spend in a town they don't live in. For mercenaries, you'll always have to pay that upkeep, unless you own some sort of base of your own where they can stay. What, you're letting workers have rights? Entropy whined. Brady, that's communism, Chara objected. It's called incentive, idiots, Verdi replied. So you two still want to hire mercenaries, right? That's right, said Entropy. It says a second-level mercenary costs 6 silver pieces per day, and the daily cost increases by 3 more silver pieces for each additional level. That's right, it does say that, Verdi hesitantly acknowledged. Cool, so that means I can hire a 20th level warrior for 6 gold per day, which comes to 180 gold for the month, Chara figured. What? No, Verdi shouted. Absolutely not. No way, screw you, Entropy. I do not think she liked that idea, Entropy, Chara observed. I get that impression, Entropy agreed. I don't want you to... Oh, don't make me say the word. I don't want you two Bakas getting carried away with high-level mercenaries, so you can't hire any above your own level. Jesus, okay. Verdi declared. And even though hirelings don't gain experience, they'll still eat a share of your experience, so you can't just hire a bunch of them to trivialize everything and still make progress at the same rate. They're meant to deal with those big numbers you always see and ignore next to organization in the monster stat blocks. Sure, Verdi. We'll play it like that. 3d6 for mercenary ability scores? They're non-elite, so yes. If we start getting big units, we'll standardize them. But as long as there are just a few, they can be unique. And how are we handling their equipment? First of all, we'll make entire mercenary groups, not just individual mercenaries, when we hire them. We've already decided. Normally, I'd say that the DM should make them, but since we're all jointly DMing this, you two will just have to control yourselves. So once the group is assembled, figure out what its treasure value as an encounter would be, and use that as the total value of equipment they should have. Then you can just give them whatever fits into that budget. No, Char, we're not going to kill and loot them after we've hired them. Fine. No killing and looting our hirelings, Char conceded. Good, said Verity. We spent like 4 weeks on this session now, so let's end it off here. But Verity, we haven't gotten into character at all, Char objected. This is not how Mount Mercer does it. Session concluded, Verity replied. Nice. Thank you for the comments. Nope. Lonskanish? I don't know. Anyway. Alright. That's comments, everybody. We did it. I'm caught up. We've done a good podcast. We've had a lot of chatter. A lot of yapping, as said. It was good. I'm glad. I had a lot of fun. Anyway. That does it for this evening. I suppose I'll, should tell you about chilling and such. Hey, do you want to be a table flipper? You can go to the link in our description to go to patreon.com/the TableTalk Crew or Ko-fi.com/the TableTalk Crew or Tabletop Crew, excuse me. Both of those I think are the same. Anyway, it's in the description. You can find it, I'm sure. And you can join these lovely people here who donate $1 or more per month. And you can get access to excuse me, I'm burping from my lemonade. You can get access to editing streams. You can get access to early access of content when it is made. Specifically, the Vampire the Masquerade campaign episodes, sessions, if you will, that are being uploaded monthly. So you'll get them as soon as they are ready and uploaded, which can be months in advance, actually. As well as the ability to join in with games when I run them for our table flippers. Recently I did one for Draco Kraken and Unit Rico in Delta Green for Project Astatine, which was also recorded, so get ready for that as well. Anyway, so there's that. And what else do we do? Oh, we have the thing in Discord, actually, that is the table flipper section as well. And you're just gonna be kind of cool, I guess. I don't know. And if you don't want to give us money, hey, don't do it. You're fine. Anyway, thank you to our tier 4s, that being Draco Kraken, Rick, aka Rico, and Steely for giving us the bunches of money that you do every month. Thank you very much. I hope that you continue to enjoy the content. And a thank you goes to Crimson Rose for the $5 that you give every month. Appreciate it. Thank you. And a thank you goes, of course, to our table flippers in tier 1. Both of you. Thank you very much. And yeah, you can get the same benefits if you go into the Ko-fi. You can see these past editing streams here, as well as the audio-only versions and such that you'll be able to. I think you can download them through Patreon and such, and Ko-fi. I don't know, actually, because the Ko-fi one is directly from SoundCloud, I think. So maybe not. I don't know. I've not tried to myself. I'm less familiar with SoundCloud, but either way, you get both of the benefits. You can also get stuff on our TeePublic merch shop. The 2023 holiday logo here, the current profile pictures, side views, as well as the current Table Talk Crew logo, as well as the old Table Talk logo that is still technically incorporated in the new Table Talk logo. It's all on sale, at least at the time of recording, for another day, so probably when this gets put up on Monday, it will not be. Anyway, Going over to our website, tabletalkdnd.us, you can go to the support us page, see all the things that I've talked about and will talk about. I need to fix this. And go see our dice, our custom dice. I have tried once again to get a bank account linked, this time through the bank account that I have my credit card through, and it rejected me again. So I don't know if I'll ever be able to do that. I've got to find a better way to sell these dice off. If people want to buy them. Of course, you don't have to. You could potentially win them from a Garrett Bingo. And I do remember that I have 3 wins that I have to give away to the people in our Discord during the holidays. That will happen during the Crimbus episode, which is coming rapidly. We're almost through the year, everybody. It's fucked up how, like, close we are to being done with this year. It has flown the fuck by. It is ridiculous. Probably the 21st or the 28th, that will be Crimbalominous time. Okay? So, but either way, there are 97 sets left. You can buy these through a PayPal payment right now for $15, and I will cover the shipping as best I can. So yeah, go get them if you want. And yeah, going over to the link in our description, you can support us through Humble Bundle, because we are partnered with Humble Bundle. Not a specific charity anymore, unfortunately, but it's just whoever the charity is being run by this time. Oh, Cyberpunk Red and Classic Mega Bundle. There you go. That's a biggin. Get those PDFs for, let's see, $18 for 23 items? Yo, you want some Cyberpunk in your life? There you go. That's it. That'll get you there. That's everything that you need. Holy shit. Awesome. Anyway, excuse me, goodness, I'm dying. So, yeah, go and see about the Cyberpunk one if you've got some if you want that. Using the link in our description, of course, if you wish. Otherwise, the Pathfinder one is still in there for another 4 days, so by Monday it'll be a day. Free League RPG, I've never heard of this. $18 for 29 items. Oh, Mutant Year Zero. That's like a game, isn't it? Like a video game, I thought. What's all this? Oh, this looks neat. I actually wanted to play Mutant Year Zero for some reason. I don't know why. It's just been something that's like, oh, I want to play that. I've never looked into it, really. Huh. I don't know any of this, but this is cool. It's $18 as well, so hey, get that if you want. Anyway, go to Humble Bundle. It still is one of my favorite sites to get stuff through because charity as well as good deals. So, yeah. Anyway. Great show, thank you. Right, I guess it's about time of the year to fight Hades and hit a deer again. Oh, Jesus Christ, don't do that. Please, I really hope that you don't hit a deer. Yeah, every time I hear about people having deer encounters, it has been horrible, and I really wish them to not happen. But either way, thank you all for hanging out with us tonight. We appreciate you immensely. We hope that you continue to enjoy the show, and you know, do the free things that you can do to help with the channel. That being liking, commenting, and subscribing if you haven't already. If you wish. Otherwise, just keep watching the show. That's really also just a thing. As well as telling other people about the show if you think that they would like something like this. We're not for everyone, and we've accepted that. We've been a very small community for a long time, but I very much enjoyed our community for the long time that we've had it. I guess it has been. It's been 5 years almost. Like, fully. We're gonna go to year 6 at the end of January. So, that's exciting. We're almost to season 6, everybody. What will change in season 6? I don't know. Will anything change, really? Probably not. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, thank you again for hanging out. It's always appreciated. And I will, we, in fact, all, will see you next week. Goodbye. Go on. Goodbye, everybody. Have a good evening, or morning, or night. Whenever you see this. Bye-bye. Or listen to this, I guess, because there's also the audio-only stuff. And I'm caught up with that too, so thank you, if you are keeping up that way. Bye-bye.